I've said this before to my fellow ADHD heads. I think it applies to everyone, though. Well, you know, speaking of things I've said before, I really think people overplay how different people are if they've got different, like, neuroatypical conditions. Like, the advice that you would give to help a person with manic depression isn't really that dissimilar to the advice that you would give to a person who doesn't have manic depression, but is having, like, the seasonal blues. You know, like at the end of the day, our brains all work pretty, for the most part, tend to work pretty similar, right? So it's not just an ADHD thing; it's an everyone thing. Like everyone procrastinates. You know, everyone. I think fundamentally experiences the same basic feelings in almost all cases. I mean, I'm sure there's some exceptions. Um, but the key to maximizing productivity, seriously, is to identify those windows where you're on your fucking shit, where you're in the game zone. You slam those distractions down and you get to work. Yesterday, I was unproductive as fuck. And then it's like 1 in the morning and I'm like, wait, I have to do the dishes. Oh, and how slowly did I do those dishes? You know, because once you're out of that zone, it becomes a grueling ordeal. But if you're in the zone, you're getting, your dopamine from it. You gotta optimize. It's like playing a gotcha game, you know? You need to have your synergy bonuses. What's that quote? Everyone's happy in roughly the same way, but everyone's unique in their misery. I think that's horseshit. That's a big part of reading literature. You have to read literature from white men in the 19th century, so you can go, damn. So they were also, they were also like, they were just like me, you know? They're also gay losers. Yeah, he just like me for real. Exactly. Is the sock company Chaussettes Rogue? Yes. Yes, it is, Manikini. Nice call. How'd you find that? How'd you find that? I'm into that shit too. Yeah, it looks really good. I'm just waiting for the tariffs to break. Yeah. He just like me. Racist, misogynist. Yeah, 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 yeah. Exactly. Hey, speaking of misogyny, it cropped up on my TL again. I still cannot believe how much of a downgrade this is on every level. I'm not the only guy to say this. I'm like, actually, every guy says this, unless you're fucking deranged. The um the art style shift over the course of One Piece, it's genuinely disgusting, man. It's crazy how much worse it got on every the color grading, the expressiveness, I mean the fucking the proportion. It's just on every level. Every level. She looks emaciated. Oda has something to do with that, to be fair, but like, they're making it worse. I've never consumed One Piece media, but my impression is the bottom one looks like a fan porn edit. It really does. It really does. Yeah, no, for sure. If you're putting out official material that looks like that, what the fuck happened to her arm? Yeah, I don't know. The keyframe animator for Toei Productions has like a Anna girl fetish or whatever. Why the fuck, River? Why are you zipping around? You've jumped in and out of here like 50 times. What's up? It's another world out there, man. You think that everyone's more or less like on the ball about this sort of thing, but then you just stumble across somebody quote tweeting an account of a girl being like, "Yep, I'm 84 pounds and I want to be 62." And it's like, "All right, good luck, I guess." Not with that, but like with life and I guess living. Honestly, this kind of ruins the hentai too, makes the porn less special. I would argue that it ruins sex, like sexuality in general. It's like how there's literally nothing in the world less erotic than those like match 3 porn game ads that you get on the side of CD websites. You know what I mean? And it's like the poorly drawn anime girls and everything. There's like nothing in the world less erotic than it, you know? Um yeah, try not to come. It's yeah, it undermines the sexual imagination. It denigrates you. Humiliation ritual.
River.
She's absolutely losing it right now. I have no idea why. The porn ads are all AI now. Maybe that's better. I have a lot to say about this. Too much for here. Yeah, okay. Oh, man. River. Wow. Whoa, 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 whoa. Wow, 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 wow. Yeah? Yeah? Are we whining? Are we whining? Are we mad? Are we mad? We might be mad. Oh my god, dude. I've had this crick in my neck for like 2 days and it won't go away. I'm so fucking mad. It feels like if you have the need to sneeze for days on end. All right. Let's clear through the easy tabs before we get to the hard ones. You guys remember this shit? Popped up on the TL. Hit me with a black flash, okay? It hit me good.
The first foreign visit by a mayor of New York is always considered significant. Where would you go first? Left to right, Ms. Adams.
First visit, I would visit the Holy Land.
Mr. Cuomo?
Given the hostility and the anti-Semitism that has been shown in New York, I would go to Israel.
Mr. Tilson, where would you go?
Yeah, I'd make my 4th trip to Israel, followed by my 5th trip to Ukraine, 2 of our greatest allies fighting on the front lines of the global war on terror.
Mr. Mamdani.
I would stay in New York City. My plans are to address New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs and focus on that.
Mr. Mamdani, can I just jump in? Would you visit Israel?
This portion of the debate created more anti-Semites than any single broadcast done by Goebbels. Easily. This was an insane, like, unbelievable. They were, the Zionists were doing, like, dark sacrifices, afflicting the Jewish people to try to pull this one out of their hat. And it didn't even fucking work. This is indistinguishable. You could create an anti-Semitic Wojak comic out of this, and if it was dated a couple years ago, everyone would look at it and assume it was just like slop. They made it. They pulled it out of thin air.
No,
As mayor?
I will be doing, as the mayor, I'll be standing up for Jewish New Yorkers, and I'll be meeting them wherever they are across the 5 boroughs, whether that's in their synagogues and temples, or at their homes, or at the subway platform, because ultimately we need to focus on delivering on their concerns.
And just yes or no, do you believe in a Jewish state of Israel?
I believe Israel has the right to exist.
Not
as a Jewish state?
Notice.
As a state with equal rights.
He won't
Not as a
say it
Jewish
has a
state.
right to exist as a Jewish state. Be very
And
clear
his
on
answer was no, he won't visit Israel.
I said that.
That's what he was trying to say.
No. Unlike
No,
you, I
you
answer.
never-
Unlike
you
you, I
never
answer
said
questions
no.
very
Okay.
directly.
All right.
My goal would be to take my first trip to Israel. My wife's life work in this area means a lot to our family, and it could coincide with my young son Miles' bar mitzvah, if you'd like to have his bar mitzvah.
Okay, but
It's Christian. He really did beat the Uniparty. Anybody who downplays, Mamdani got by far the most votes an NYC mayoral candidate's gotten in 50 years, and he did it despite an overwhelming wave of propaganda directed against him by the entire media class and Democratic establishment, and also the sitting president of the United States, who directed votes away from Sliwa towards the previous governor of the state. It, like, everything, yeah, from the top rope, everyone came down on him, and he still prevailed. I will say, though, this particular part of the debate probably did not help the deep state in their effort to take him down. Definitely one of the most insane moments of political television I have ever been subjected to. Oh, and Ezra Klein shunned and removed from public life. Wait, what did Ezra Klein say? I mean, I know I probably disagree with it just on first principle. Like, I know, but what specifically are you referring to? Excuse me. What do we do when the inevitable pro-Mamdani Groyper starts spawning? Let him. They're weak opportunists. Like they're just trying. They gravitate around the stronger, or at least the more attention-grabbing people. You know. He's Muslim from Africa. That's not happening. Ah, I saw. Where's that Sneeko clip where Sneeko finds the whitest Groyper? Come on. It's so relevant. It's so relevant to what we're talking about right now. Where is it? Ah, where is it? I'm trying to find it. I'm looking so hard. Seriously, where is it? I thought it'd be at the top when I search it. Twitter, Sneeko, America First. They hide it? They hide it from us? You found it? Oh my god, thank you.
Ain't no fucking way, bro. Yo, you ballsy with that fucking hat, nigga. Wait, yo.
I love your content.
Fucking ballsy. Wait, what's your name, bro? Armando. Yeah. Are you Mexican?
I'm descendant, yeah.
You're a Mexican Groyper, bro.
Just like Nick Fuentes.
Yo, you're gonna make this shit hot, bro. Get the fuck away from me, nigga.
Hell yeah, brother. Whitest Groyper. That guy's also not Mexican. He's pretty dark and he's like 4 feet tall. That is like a Central American 12-year-old. Is he dropping N-words? Sneeko can. He's allowed. He's got fangs. He's like a fucking vampire. Bro thinks he's the master of the race. You know, sometimes it's like Latin Americans or you know, people from the Philippines or whatever the fuck thinking they're secretly the master race because they're 1/16 white. I think a lot of it is genuinely just they're terrified of women, and Nick Fuentes has like a monopoly on a portion of that audience online. You know, I really do think it comes down to that. You always have to, if you can better explain a political dynamic by doubling back on the assumption that people are really stupid and really psychosexually motivated, you can usually find better explanations for their behavior. You know? I don't know. The master race is Ethiopian because genetically they have a larger lung capacity and they can run fast because of that. What if the master race really is, like, Scandinavian white people, but it has nothing really to do with their race? It's because they're the only ones that can handle eating, like, rotten fish heads. And the salted licorice shit they're so proud of. They've built up a genetic resistance to foods that would kill other races. I would know because I'm not Scandinavian. I'm Slavic, and I did once have their salted licorice, and I actually had to spit it out. And I do not like spitting out food that I don't like. Yeah, like chewy, salted milk. Pathetic Vosh Salmiak is goated. You will inherit the earth. Well, while the rest of us are living out our last, dying in caves and tunnels, Scandinavian people will be eating the rad roaches and going, yeah, they'll be having a great time. They'll be so desensitized from their god-awful, shit-ass pre-existing cuisine. Isn't that the guy Destiny's been debating on his tour? Is Destiny having a Sneeko-themed tour? That seems unlikely. Are they having like battle coast to coast, like they're going city to city to debate in different locales? What are you talking about? Cuck themed? Oh shit, that's true. It's like the only debate that Destiny can have where people don't bring that up because it's as much of a sensitive spot for them as it is for him. Well, I guess not a sensitive spot for Destiny, more like a, I don't know, well-traveled. Icelanders developed a sense of smell where the ammonia molecules in that fish have a floral scent, lol. That's fucking disgusting. That's like flies magically knowing which poop is the best for maggots. I'm eating licorice right now in its peak. Motherfucker, you don't know. I'm not talking about red vines, okay? You're throating Twizzlers. I'm talking about the fucking Swedish salted licorice. I'm Norwegian? Alright, well, I'm sorry for you. Enjoy being 6'5" and depressed. There we go. I will? Yeah, okay. Alright, we got it. It took a while for us to get there, but we got it. Jury acquits DC sandwich guy. Oh, good, good. Good. We'll get to that. What's this Afton Bain ad?
I'm Afton Bain. We all know the system is rigged in Washington.
Is that suede or is that corduroy? I think that's corduroy. Okay. Yeah, no, that's probably not suede.
Here's how it works. Politicians make it easy for their rich donors. Tax cuts for billionaires and burying the Epstein files. While hardworking Tennesseans get a rough ride by cutting health care for Tennessee families, doubling health insurance premiums, and tariffs that hurt our economy. I'm Afton Bain, and I approve this message. Vote early to shake up Washington.
That's really good. Actually, that's really good. That's a memorable ad. It's goofy. It's goofy enough. I think. Listen, I'm not a Tennessean, but I think that'll play well. You know, her odds are slim, but we're rooting for her. Even an overperformance relative to expectations, that would be pretty good. They don't do bull rides in Tennessee. They may not, like, authentically, but the Texasification of the, like, broader South. Listen, if it's cowboy hat country, they have the bull riding things. And I've been to Nashville. I saw the damn machines. It's good. I like it.
I'm Afton Bain. We all know the system is rigged in Washington. Here's how it works. Politicians make it easy for their rich donors. Tax cuts for billionaires and burying the Epstein files. While hardworking Tennesseans get a rough ride by cutting health care for Tennessee families, doubling health insurance premiums, and tariffs that hurt our economy.
I think it's cute.
I'm Afton Bain, and I...
Also, she's wearing a nice shirt, you know, in my humble opinion. Huh. Did you see this fuck-ass Kamala ad? She tries to hop on the Dem win wave. Kamala ad? Oh, okay, not like a TV ad. You just mean like a clip that she posted. Okay, yeah, fuck her. I don't fucking care. An internal poll for the Tennessee 07 special. Afton Bain, hello, hello. Your Community PAC released an impact research survey showing Republican Matt Van Epps ahead of Afton Bain, 52 to 44. Okay. Wait, 52 to 44 is pretty good. Tennessee 7 was Trump plus 22 in 2024. Special uphill fight. If things trend in the direction of Democrats' overperformance in other recent special elections, then Afton Bain has potential to be competitive against Matt Van Epps. His negatives are potent. The presence of a legitimate independent candidate significantly lowers the threshold needed for Ben to win. At the very least, Ben looks poised to overperform and add to the narrative that Democrats will be able to compete everywhere in 2026. That's huge. That's huge. Yeah, 100%. This will encourage more funding and resources in Tennessee. Yeah, as we should. Democrats have been really bad about this, like, historically. They give up on states as soon as they're not, like, safe blue. Or they'll, like, Democrats will invest in the swing states, you know, the blue wall, Pennsylvania, whatever the fuck, Arizona, but they don't put money into states that could be won with a little bit more effort. You know, they're very, like, by the books, which is the whole Democratic fucking party, right? The race is currently a toss-up among extremely motivated voters. 48% Ben, 50% Van Epps. We'll see. One of the actual good things Ken Martin has done is bring back funding for red state Dem parties. Yes. I've read about that. I've read about that, for sure, for sure. Has to do something good. I don't understand how the black belt states say so consistently red. Look, man, there are more white people than black people. The black people in those states vote Democrat, but the white people in those states vote very, 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 very Republican. So, simple as. Also gerrymandering? Yeah, but even if there wasn't gerrymandering, like, you can still look at the presidential vote totals. It's not just gerrymandering. It's also just extreme racial polarization. Of course, it's good when people are racially polarized in favor of good things. So we're not discrediting the efforts of, you know, Southern black folk. But if you're being racially polarized towards racism, that's the... If you're being racially polarized towards anti-racism, okay, I don't know. I think that's pretty good, to be honest with you, in my humble opinion. Here, I'll look at the Kamala Harris bit where she's taking credit or whatever.
On the campaign, I would often say, when we fight, we win.
As demonstrated by my campaign, where I neither fought nor won. So there you go. Lesson learned, right?
But here's the thing. Sometimes the fight takes a while. That doesn't mean we won't win. That doesn't mean we won't win. The important
You didn't win. You famously didn't win.
thing is don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. Don't ever stop trying to make the world a better place. And don't you ever listen when anyone tells you something is impossible because it has never been done before.
That was so inspiring. Jarvis, clean up my pants. I fucking hate her. You know she's gonna run again. Vile woman. Yep, but unfortunately, a lot of Democrats like her. A lot of Democrats like Gavin Newsom. This is why I think, like, AOC and Bernie Sanders, and to an extent Mamdani, though he's in a different position because he's fighting for, like, heavy stakes right now. We need to start turning the pressure up on pointing out how bad these moderate Democrats are, you know? You can't, if you are a fan of what AOC and Mamdani and so on represent, you can't be a fan of Governor Newsom or of Kamala Harris. You just can't. You can't. It's an inconsistency. It doesn't make any sense. They represent a rejection of a certain way of doing things that the other two that I mentioned are mired in. They're entrenched in it, you know? They're deep state cronies. They don't believe in anything. They don't care about anything. They walk back their positions the moment a consultant tells them to. They are completely beholden to corporate interests. Yeah, age aside, and speaking of her departure, like, Pelosi at least believes in something. She does dislike Republicans. People bullshit that with Gavin Newsom. They're like, yeah, he's a real hater. Is he? Was he a real hater when he was going down on Charlie Kirk's sloppy style on his podcast? Yes, you have such good positions on trans people. Was that hater talk right there? No, I don't think so. Nancy Pelosi actually does hate Republicans, though, so credit to her on that. But the insider trading, honest to God, like, insider trading is really bad, but I would rather have an effective Democrat who insider trades than an ineffective Democrat who doesn't. Unfortunately, right now we're caught with the worst of both worlds, which is ineffective Democrats who do insider trading. She helped get Biden to retire at least? Yeah. I mean, didn't end up working, but I suppose it was still important. She still does that. We need a strong Republican Party, Aaron Sorkin bullshit. She does. She does. 100% she does. Yeah. Would you take an effective Democrat who is massively pro-Israel? I think that's an oxymoron. I think that your handling on Israel is like a litmus test for your legitimacy as a candidate. I couldn't imagine a candidate who was a good Democrat who was also pro-Israel. Not, mind you, just because of Israel. Even if you ignored everything involving Israel and Palestine, being pro-Israel suggests that you're compromised on so many other positions, because it's a position that you could only arrive at if you were deeply, deeply beholden to certain special interests, you know? No one authentically, independently gets into politics, has a broad set of progressive positions, but is also pro-Israel. That is a bought position. Yeah, comparatively. This is why we like some of the things AOC does, but don't stand her. No, listen, I just think AOC is kind of weak and doesn't know what to do now that she's in power. I don't think she's pro-Israel. I just think that, like, AOC, it's so important right now for AOC, who's one of the most popular, like, biggest public followings of anyone in Washington, for her to use that popularity to direct people against moderate Democrats. It's huge, very important. It's essential. She needs to be a Mamdani ally. She is. They're unambiguously allies. But, like, the attention needs to be drawn. Because what is the point of all of this if we then get forced into a position where like the mainstream media and the Democratic Party are all frontlining moderate shitlibs in 2028? What are you going to do when the primary list rolls around and it actually is like Pete Buttigieg, Gavin Newsom, and Kamala Harris? What are you going to do? Like, okay, fuck. I guess all of that momentum and work that was built over the past couple of years means nothing. Because even if they do win, they will not fix a single fucking thing, and every problem that they took on in office will immediately reemerge the moment they leave. And the Republicans will win the next 3 elections or whatever. Who's your 2028 hopeful pick right now? I don't have one. There is no good presidential candidate for 2028. None. No one who is positioned to take up that mantle. We do have time, thankfully, but right now there are none. I don't know. What do we do if we get there and there's no good candidates? Jerk it crazy style? I don't fucking know. Are you God? What are you supposed to do about it? Anyway. Plattner should get a Punisher skull tattoo on his face and then run for Prez. Yeah, he can get like an eye, but the pupil really looks like a Sonengrad, and then he gets really defensive when people point it out, and then he hastily covers it up with fuck, I don't know. He already did the Celtic wolf tattoo. What's the next? I have what would the next, like, what's one tier down the Nazi symbolism hierarchy from that? Thor's hammer, yeah. Deranged prediction, Loomer will run in 2028, get the RNC ticket. I'm rooting for her. As we know, women can't win the presidency, so position us well. When did the Celtic Wolf become Nazi affiliated? I thought they were into Norse stuff. They're into like a big hodgepodge of esoteric, white adjacent mysticism. It's incoherent. There's nothing meaningful there, you know. Excuse me. Plattner calling out people mourning for Cheney, so based.
Hey everyone, Graham Plattner here. Usually when a former vice president passes, we all take some time to mourn. As a veteran of the Iraq War, I'm going to say, no, not this time. Over the next couple of days, I'm sure there are going to be thousands of think pieces written about his legacy, but the only legacy that we have to remember is that he wasted thousands of young American lives, hundreds of thousands of Iraqi lives, and trillions of dollars for absolutely nothing. If we take anything away from this...
Yeah, that's true. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris posted about what a good public servant Cheney was, you know? I think that's a great litmus test. If you're asked about Cheney and your response isn't contemptuous, I don't see how you can be a Democrat. Isn't it insane that that's like a contentious line you have to draw? No, I do not think the Democratic presidential primary candidate should praise Dick Cheney. I really don't think that's a hard line to draw, man. Like he's hated for one. It's not even a matter of like political expedience. He's hated by everyone. Nobody today likes Dick Cheney. Republicans don't talk positively about him. Democrats don't talk positively about him. Nobody likes him. Nobody. There's no demographic you're cynically appealing to. And Kamala Harris still saw that and was like, yep, time for me to praise him. It's deep state allegiance, man. It's a big club and you're not in it, you know? Seriously, like that's the reason why. At the end of the day, these people are more allegiant to Washington than they are to you. The idea that, you know, it's the same reason why Ford pardoned Nixon, right? No matter how much a person fucks up, like there still has to be this inviolate. Probably the same reason, by the way, why they didn't go after Trump after J6, you know? Plattner does have a very good voice. It sounds too performative for me, to be honest with you. It sounds like a Valorant boyfriend material. Way to nail that, old babe. That was so fucking hot. Yeah, and I think it works. Maybe. Maybe for you. Maybe for a guy like you. All right. Now to the funny part. They had Ben Shapiro on CNN. Don't think it's the first time that he's been on, but it has been a while, hasn't it? Look at him. Dark woke. Going after Trump, too.
They're very pointed questions, but we can just start with Chief Justice Roberts. Why not? He's the Chief Justice. As he mentioned, generally, the Congress has the power to tax, and that's a power that's reserved only for them. Trump's lawyers or the administration lawyers are saying that this isn't a tax. What they're doing is essentially regulating imports. This is more about foreign policy, and what they're doing is trying to bring manufacturing jobs back to the United States. So they're regulating import to allow that to happen, and that any taxes that comes from that is incidental. The lawyers on the other side are saying that's BS. This is a tax, and only the Congress has the right to do that. Now, it is of note.
I'm really looking forward to the MAGA meltdown, the Trump meltdown specifically, after the Supreme Court ruling. It seems to me like very, very unlikely right now that the Supreme Court is going to allow these tariffs to continue. And I mean, they can openly defy the court if they want. We'll get our drama that way if we have to, but you understand.
That Justice Alito did bring up that in emergency situations, the president does have more power. And we're going to hear this question answered of, Trump has this notion now that he can decide when it's an emergency. And he's tried to use that with immigration. He's tried to use that with tariffs. I think we're going to get an answer as to whether or not a president can unilaterally decide when it's an emergency.
Holy shit, it's a YouTuber panel.
He should get more power.
Ben, the president has won something like more than 20 cases that have come up to the Supreme Court. Do you see this as a time, after sort of hearing some of the questions that are being asked, where the idea of more presidential power for this president in this case won't fly?
Well, I mean, I think that one of the characterizations of the court that I always find suspect is when people say, even the conservatives on the court are saying this. Okay, the conservatives on the court tend to be textualists, which means that they're actually looking at the text of the Constitution as opposed to sort of a vague peripheral understanding of what the Constitution means.
Yeah, man, that's true. That's, yep. Only the originalists, the textualists, they're the only ones that actually read the Constitution. Everyone from every other legal doctrine just, like, does vibes, man.
So when you're looking at the textualists, and they are saying the president does not actually have emergency authority to simply impose tariffs on the basis of trade deficits, which is essentially what he's been doing, that is a very conservative position. I've been critical of the president, very critical of the president on his tariff policies themselves, which I think are actually economically wrong and I think are actually damaging to the country in a lot of ways on foreign policy, actually. But that's not what's at issue. The issue here is whether the president has the emergency authority to do this sort of stuff. And I thought that the best question that was asked came from Justice Gorsuch, in which he actually said to the lawyers for the president, if, let's say, the next president decides that on the basis of emergency authority, that climate change is an emergency, and therefore he's going to slap, or she is going to slap a 50% tariff on all automobiles coming into the country, would that president have the authority to do this? And the attorney for the president, President Trump, said yes, they would have the authority to do this. I do not believe that the court, I've said this since literally day one when President Trump announced Liberation Day. I said that day, this is illegal. The Supreme Court is going to strike this down. He does not actually have the constitutional authority to do this.
I think it's also
is Shapiro actually going to shift towards the center? Shapiro is one of the less economically populist right-wing fascists, but this is also inevitable to a large extent because, again, he's Jewish and, like, man, have you seen the comments underneath any of his tweets or YouTube videos any time in the past 2 years? There's no place for him left here, man. It's like, it's really bad. Like, really bad. It's not all, like, targeted brigading. It's just on the right, you kind of, especially if you're trying to appeal to young people, you kind of have to be a freak neo-Nazi or you're going to get, like, pushed out. You're either going to be pushed to the right, but, I mean, in his case, he can't really shift to the right. He's Jewish and a Zionist. I mean, there's a limit to how far right he can go.
going to be very disruptive to the economy as we get through this. I mean, let's just say, I mean, but it has been. But I'm just saying, let's
it'll be the best thing for the economy.
Well,
it'll be great.
That's what he says.
No. If tariffs are struck down.
Oh, well, no, but I'm saying functionally, we have a question that we have to ask ourselves, which is how do we, what do we do with the tariffs that have been collected? Right. What do we do with the funds that have been collected?
By the way, some of them have been spent already. They're already
those are illegitimate, illegal funds that we have now collected. I mean, I'm not sure how that works. And
but I don't think the Supreme Court should be concerned about that. That's a political issue. I think that's legally the court has to decide if there's legislation that gives the authority to the president. If it is, he can do it. If not, they can't look at the consequences of it or what the outcome is. They have to decide, is that power baked in? Yes or no.
But the consequences will still be there. And I'm just saying that if we have a government right now that is highly inefficient, that is not working, that is going to be a political question that somebody is going to have to be a grown-up in the room and have to answer to figure that out.
One of the things that will be fascinating is if the court does strike it down, watch the stock market absolutely explode. Seriously, you'll watch the S&P 500 jump like nobody's business, and the president is then going to be in the awkward position of having to explain why the markets are boosted by the rejection of his key policies.
The best example of that is going to be our American automakers. I mean, you're going to see their stock just explode. You're going to see those people who are doing that type of work, for example, who are building cars from Canada, the United States, and Mexico working together, their stock, to your point, their stock's going to go through the roof.
Well, let me let everybody hear what we heard from Justice Amy Coney Barrett on this issue of if they decide that this is...
Why Shapiro here? Credit where credit's due. Having seen a lot of these CNN roundtables, Shapiro is by far the least retarded, like, pocket conservative they could pull out. Like, usually the job of the pocket conservative on a CNN roundtable is to like, he's like a fat guy stuffed into a too tight suit, and every once in a while they'll scoff and say, yeah, the snowflakes are mad at it, but Trump's done it again. and then he'll argue with like the black women present for 3 minutes. That's what that's like 95% of the time. That is what you get, you know?
Not legal for the president to impose these tariffs. What happens next? Here's what she said.
If you win, tell me how the reimbursement process would work. Would it be a complete mess?
It's a very complicated thing. There's got to be an administrative protest. There was a harbor management case earlier that this court was involved with in the United States Shoe, in which, you know, the refund process took a long time. There were any number of claims and equitable relief.
So a mess.
So it's difficult, absolutely. We don't deny that it's difficult.
Is there a possibility, this is to you or anyone at this table, is there a possibility that the court looks at this and says, we don't want this mess, so we're just going to rule a certain way?
No.
Or will they really
I can't imagine that happens, and I really hope it doesn't happen, because I think setting a precedent like this is actually dangerous. We're supposed to have co-equal branches of government. Obviously, Congress throughout the years has ceded a lot of power to the executive branch, but using emergency powers to essentially make policy in the executive branch is wrong. And on top of that, you know, I understand that it is going to be a mess. I mean, think about the farmers. The farmers have been hurt quite a bit as a result of these tariffs. And it's going to cause long-term damage to these farmers. But in the meantime, the Trump administration has decided to use some of the revenue from these tariffs to help make these farmers whole. So to your point, yes, a lot of that money has already been spent already. I don't know how the refunds are going to work. I don't really care.
But
what I care more about
one
is
of the points that was made by a justice is, if this power is given, how do we get it back?
Right.
You can't get it back. So they're not going to give this power because it's difficult to figure out. Because once it's out there, there's no president that's going to relinquish that power.
It's almost as if bad and intrusive government policy that affects huge numbers of people turns into a mess, actually, as just a general rule.
Have you advised Trump on any of this?
I've been saying this clearly and openly since before liberation.
The big pivot from a bunch of conservatives as Trump grows increasingly unpopular because all of his policies fall through, I think, is that they're going to call him left wing. They're going to call him a communist. Like because he is, I mean, he is the stereotype of what they accuse people on the left of being of. He's a big government lunatic who sees direct control over the economy and via executive power alone, without Congress, started engaging in a bunch of protectionist policymaking. You know, I think that's going to be their pivot out of this. After Trump is gone and he's not around to flame them on Twitter or whatever the fuck, I think that's the direction they're going to go. Of course, I mean, like, Trump isn't ideologically a capitalist or I mean, really much of anything, to be honest, besides being self-serving. Capitalists don't like, certainly corporatists don't like what he's done to the economy. Capitalism is just like a consequence of the, like, he could exist in any system, essentially. I don't see how they're going to make that stick. I think it'll be like a little grift they carve out. I don't think they're going to shift it like in the mainstream perception. It will lead to some funny infighting.
Listening.
Interestingly, it's a fascinating conversation about the expansion of the administrative state, which we talked about kind of on a microcosm level here in New York City when it comes to affordability.
Always back to Mondani.
No, not necessarily, but there is an appropriate conversation for us to be having about affordability.
It's a Birkenstock stamping on the human face forever.
Of course, there's a lot of experts going back and forth on whether tariffs are the right answer for this, but I do think it's important that we are seeing executive leadership on this when it comes to making America whole and making sure that we are not being taken advantage of on the global scale. That is important. So I'm hopeful that that conversation continues beyond this particular case. I know the Trump administration is very, very passionate about this. And frankly, heck, from a fiscal conservative perspective, if tariffs could replace, I don't know, the federal income tax someday, I would be cheering for that from the rooftops.
Good.
Because you're retarded? Why?
When I was in the legislature, an old state legislator once told me, we were having a discussion about fees and taxes, and he said they're both three-letter words that take money out of your pocket. I mean, you can add tariff to that as well, because tariff is simply just a tax on
But there's other ways to regulate imports, and I think that was part of the conversation today.
Section 202 authority.
If that's what you want to do.
The Bulwark has already called Trump a bigger communist than Mamdani. It's definitely the play. Yeah. We need like a national movement to remind people why taxes exist. The government does not create and regulate a currency just so they can like watch it pile up in the bank accounts of the oldest and wealthiest people, and then it just sits there forever. What would be the point of that? It's to facilitate commerce.
President, you have the right to do that without imposing a tax.
Correct.
And a tariff.
Insanely stupid. Importers are already selling their tariff refund rights. No. Yeah, there's already a big market for it. Big market for it. How long was Ben on there? Blue Wave? Wait, hold on. Pardon my curiosity.
Tonight, the day after a blue wave.
Also, remember Newsom did the same thing. Yes, that's true. Newsom didn't call Trump a fascist. Newsom called Trump a communist.
Trump weighs in.
Remember, I've said we will
and end the game. A blue wave swept across the country in key races last night. Voters sent a direct
America just see how
Or not in this wasn't elected. We just
Democrats were very did not do well last night. And it's also true, obviously, that Democrats were very likely to win Virginia or New Jersey or New York. But obviously, Republicans don't take into account the fact that this is now a Republican-owned economy. And that this is a Republican-run country. I mean, the Republicans do run both houses of Congress and the presidency. And so if there's a backlash, it's going to obviously happen to the Republicans. And that is always the most likely scenario. I mean, I think that the question is going to be margins. Right now, there aren't that many vulnerable seats, actually, in the House. The number of challengeable seats is extremely limited. So I don't think you're going to get a wave that's 40, 50 seats, because I'm not sure that's possible anymore, given redistricting and given the big sort that's been happening. But for Republicans not to take some alarm at the fact that, obviously, these exit polls, which are showing economy still as the number one concern and inflation still as the number one concern. If they don't take that seriously, obviously there are going to be some serious effects in the minute.
There are 2 points I want to make along the same lines that Ben was making. This probably will be the only time we agree.
I was like, y'all are agreeing on something?
Start off with a bang here. But yes, we have to think about the fact that, take Virginia, for example. Every single county in Virginia swung to the left. Every single county, not just one. And we're talking about 2, 3, 4, sometimes 15, 16 points swung to the left. In Georgia, what you saw around Atlanta, Fulton County, Gwinnett, Cobb, I mean, those folks came out to vote. And so you're starting to see those things. And
the big black pill, though, is that, like, realistically, there probably would have been no blue wave 2 nights ago if it wasn't for the fact that Trump is personally autistically obsessed with tariffs. There are some things, the tariffs, the shutdown, there are, like, obvious economic fumbles the Republicans are making for no reason other than because they're incredibly stupid and evil. All of the other stuff, his immigration crackdown and also eroding American democracy, those things are marginal compared to the economic stuff. Not the ICE stuff? No, I think the ICE stuff, the ICE behavior might have been a 3 or 4 point swing to the left, but this broader collection of economic problems, I think, is what led to 10, 11, 12.
Last but not least, the issues that were at the forefront, and Democrats have to realize this, the issues that were at the forefront, like you said, were the economy, affordability, 1. Number 2, health.
So it is just money at the end of the day for some people? Huh? Yeah, because people are fucking self-interested and evil, and we don't believe in society, especially here in America. You know, there are countries with better and more robust civil societies than America. We just, I mean, at the end of the day, we are also kind of working at a debuff here because the Democrats have no national figure. The Democrats have no national messaging. So in light of that, obviously we're not getting any kind of consistent pushback.
Here, a distant third was immigration. You know what was not in those top 5 or 6 issues? These culture wars, which Donald Trump pulls us down in, and we can never win them.
And usually I think the Democratic Party takes the bait, and this time around they didn't. So I think the Virginia governor's race is a good example of that. You know, you have Winsome Earl Sears kind of focusing part of her campaigning on the transgender issues. Spanberger didn't focus on that, and she did focus on affordability, and I think it helped her win that gubernatorial race. But I will say this.
Yeah, was it or was it not focusing on identity politics when Anna Kasparian had a 6-month crash out and changed her entire political ideology over seeing birthing person listed in like a medical form in California one time?
I'm glad that Ben is pointing out to the fact that, yes, economy is top of mind for most Americans. And what I heard from House Speaker Mike Johnson and from Vice President J.D. Vance is a lot of what I heard from Democrats in the lead up to the 2024 presidential election, when immigration was definitely something that Americans were concerned about.
And by the way, the big lesson to take from this is not don't focus on it. I suppose maybe it depends on what you mean by focus on. You know, Mamdani was unapologetically progressive, and it didn't hurt him at all. You don't want to get dragged down by the other side, but at the same time, you know, you have to be principled. What you don't want to do is be Kamala Harris, who pretended to be progressive back in 2020, but then 2024 comes around and she's like, trans people, I'll let the states deal with them. You don't want that. It makes you look weak to both sides. No one on the right is going to be convinced that you've de-radicalized, and nobody on the left is going to believe you will fight for their rights when you're so willing to pivot off of them.
And they pretended like, nope, doesn't exist. It's all made up. It's just right-wing fear-mongering. No, you need to listen to your constituents, because your constituents are the ones who are concerned about
Well, in
this.
fairness, I don't think the vice president or the speaker of the House were saying these issues don't matter or they don't exist. That certainly isn't what they were saying. They're explaining that it's an off-year election.
Actually, the Speaker of the House literally today said that the rising cost of groceries is no big deal because the cost of groceries are innately inflationary and they're meant to rise.
And that Republicans didn't necessarily feel the same impetus to go vote as we likely are going to see in the next presidential election, and certainly in the midterms coming up next year. So I think that's a bit of a mischaracterization.
Well, Trump is underwater when it comes to pretty much everything, including immigration, by the way. But Larry Kudlow today was shocked at how underwater he is when it comes to the economy. 61% of Americans disapprove of Trump's handling of the economy. Don't underestimate how much of an impact that's going to have on the midterm elections.
And even the voters that, you know, the fraction of black male voters that people were looking at in the 2024 election, you know, all those voters came back home. And the biggest flop you saw last night, or flip-flop, however the word is said, was Hispanic voters. Yeah. So all the gains, it looks like every gain that Republicans made in 2024 through immigration policy reform that people don't like what they're seeing on TV or whatever it may be, they lost all of that last night. Now again, Democrats, one of the things we like to do is run victory laps that last like 365 days. I mean, you have to figure this out because this isn't the only headline today. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but we're literally in 36 days of a shutdown. And people are extremely, they're hurting right now. And that hurt was what we saw in the election last night.
I mean, I think the biggest thing in all of this, and I think you saw it, Trump winning over Biden, I think that you're seeing it now, is that people don't like the status quo. And after they change the status quo, they don't like the new status quo. Because the reality is that all these problems that are now deep.
That's fucking horseshit. The status quo hasn't changed in decades and decades. There's no information to base this off of. All of the economic and political trends, capital accumulation, congratulations, everything is fucking AI now. Everything is financialized. The way our economy and our country has been shifting over time, it's been in the same direction consistently for decades. Isn't that the definition? Yeah, this is the status quo. But what he's implying is that people are just innately dissatisfied with what they're used to, which is horseshit. What we're used to right now sucks, and it's been getting worse every single decade. Like, and this is measurable. Yeah. Yeah, but largely, you know, you blame Reagan since the 1980s, but I reject this like, well, the grass is always greener. No, sometimes the grass actually is greener on the other side. It's a measurable, it's an empirical characteristic of the grass. Your perception may vary, but sometimes on one side of the fence, the grass is dead, and on the other side of it, it's green and vibrant.
Deeply embedded in very real ways in our economy, for example, things like the national debt, things like the fact that we've had, you know, enormous pressing by the Federal Reserve for a while here, and in both directions. First, it was too slow to react in one direction, then it was too slow to react in the other direction. You know, all of this is leading to just a systemic unease that everyone has with everything. And whoever gets elected next, I mean, good luck to Zohran Mamdani, because he's not going to be able to solve all the issues that he is talking about, certainly not with the policies that he is currently proposing. And then he's going to be the one on the chopping block.
I do want to ask you,
because
young people voted in very large numbers, particularly in the mayoral race here in New York, and they were part of the change that happened here with Zohran Mamdani sort of sweeping into office with over 50% of the vote. But I want to talk about what we've been hearing from the president and some others in the Republican Party who keep calling him not a socialist, democratic socialist, which he has said he is, but a communist. And there are big differences between the two.
No, there aren't. Fuck you.
That scare tactic did not work when it comes to Mamdani. And socialism, some people will look at it and say, look, we have some socialist programs here in the United States, things like Medicaid and Medicare, things like, the SNAP program, things like public school.
I guess we can't be too mad about this when the biggest advocate for socialism in America, Bernie Sanders, also does this with the definition of socialism.
We all pay taxes, but even if you don't have kids, kids get to go
compulsory program.
To school for free. What sort of is the idea that Republicans have that this is a communist and that they can keep pushing this idea when people
certainly
are rejecting it?
Look, there is a fundamental difference between outright socialism, where the government seizes the means of production and tries to artificially control the market, and which we've seen many, many times play out throughout human history.
There would be no market, and the government doesn't seize the means of production, the proletariat does.
And social welfare programs. Having social welfare programs available in a country does not inherently make your society a socialist society. Just last night, we talked about the thriving economies over the last several years of Scandinavian countries like Norway, Sweden, Denmark, that on the economic index freedom scale are actually more capitalist than the United States of America, have far more free market opportunities for people who live there than even we do here in the United States. Where I think there is a valid criticism, and what's going to be interesting to see if this can even play out here in New York City, are these very radical ideas with extreme expansion in government, stuff like state-run grocery stores or taking over housing here in New York City specifically with the.
But that's also a social welfare program like what you just described, and the Scandinavian countries also have strong social welfare programs.
Decommodification, as we saw specifically campaigned for by Zoran Mamdani on the campaign trail, where the government will plan to go in and purchase private housing in the quest to make housing more affordable here in the United States.
Oh my God, government-owned housing, that's crazy. That's only been a feature of civilized society for as long as humans have been building housing and had governments. That's crazy.
I think that's an interesting policy idea. It certainly is prescribing the wrong solution, but for an accurate complaint, right? People are struggling to afford life here in Manhattan and around our country. We all reasonably should be coming to the table with solutions for this, but is more government involvement the solution? Time and time again throughout human history, the answer has been no. And
but you just defended social welfare programs and also defended Scandinavian countries that have social welfare programs. This is what's that image? It's the cycle every time where so you're like, I want decommodification, more government programs, and then the Republican says that's socialism, and you say, yeah, but look at these countries over here that do it, like Norway. They're better and their people are happier. And then the Republican says that's not socialism, that's social democracy. And then you say, well, then let's do that, and they say no, that's socialism. It's the infinite fucking, it's the Ouroboros, man.
I think we have the scorecard to prove that.
This isn't about decommodification.
It's about rent freezes.
No, it's not even about that.
Well, there was an ad put out by Mamdani advocating for that, so I think let's be honest.
Let's be extremely honest about what this is. Republicans had Barack Obama, who was now a little long in.
Also, the reason why Scandinavian countries are considered more capitalist is just because they do less corporate subsidies than the USA. Yeah, America is actually pretty bad when it comes to economic freedom, but not because we're not capitalist. It's because capitalism, like the interests of the capitalists, eventually devolve into an oligarchical system. Like capitalists, when they're powerful enough within a political system, when they lobby and they engage in regulatory capture and so on, right? They're not going to like want the playing field to stay fair forever. They want to skew it and use the power of the government to benefit themselves. Obviously, this has been happening since before capitalism, right? Like mercantile corporations, the India Trading Corporation, stuff like that, you know? So America is more economically unfree, not because we are less capitalist, but because we are further down late-stage capitalism than the Scandinavian countries.
And he's on the sideline. They had Kamala Harris, who is now recuperating from a race. They had Joe Biden. Right? They do extremely well with picking a boogeyman out, and that is what they're doing. I mean, we cannot fall for that. I mean, they're simply otherizing Mamdani. They're saying whatever they want to say.
And it's not working, though. That's the thing. Like, the more they attack him, the more...
I mean, it's like, it's a refreshing...
In what way is otherizing just responding to his own campaign
calling him a jihadist when he's not a jihadist? That's a good example.
But I mean, also, for every Zoran Mamdani, there is a Mary Sheffield. Right? There is somebody else who you can see. She's the first black mayor of Detroit, Michigan, where young people came out in large swaths and voted for.
So then the question becomes why they're focusing on Mamdani. And I think the answer is because of Mamdani's own words. If you watched his victory speech, last night. He used one line in particular that sort of leapt out and left off the screen when he said that there is literally no problem. This was his line. There is no problem too big for government to solve and no matter too small for government to care about.
I don't think that line is the reason why everyone's talking about Mamdani. I don't think that attention drawn towards Mamdani was sort of ordinary up until that line in his victory speech, and then everyone paid attention to him. I think there's a wide variety of reasons people are paying special attention to him.
I mean, that's what totalitarians would say, is that they're literally...
No, it's not. Totalitarians literally never say that at all. That's not even remotely the sort of thing they say.
And then the two people he quoted...
Totalitarians, authoritarians in general, stress the importance of civilians serving the state. The idea of the government serving you, totalitarians wouldn't. That's not from the Soviets, the Nazis, Tito, wherever you want to go, North Korea, whatever society you want to imagine that has an authoritarian bent to it. One of the fundamental ideas is the like moral and contractual obligation for every citizen to serve the state, which is the moral ideological pretext upon which they build surveillance and the carceral state and everything like that. The idea of a person being totalitarian because they think the government can solve your day-to-day problems, it's just not how it pans out. It's just that it's that retarded fucking Reagan line, you know? The scariest words in the English language, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Yeah, that's so true, man. I bet people fucking despise it when, like, government regulators show up to prove that their landlord is not maintaining their building properly. Or when, like, the government, like, helps them with their taxes if they did. The problem is there are so few examples of the government helping people in this country because everything's been privatized.
Verbatim, aside from Mario Cuomo, which was I thought a delightful little slap at Andrew. I thought it was a little nasty. But he quotes Eugene V. Debs, who's a socialist, and then he quotes Nehru, another socialist. And then he says, I am a socialist from the stage. So, you know, saying that President Trump is somehow going overboard when he has campaigned as this, when the Democratic Socialists of America, which is a base from which he springs and to whom he answers in many ways, is openly socialist. He's not
Yeah, no shit.
He said on this network he hates capitalism.
But I don't
he said that on this network.
That's calling him a communist, not a socialist.
Well, why don't you explain what you think that the difference is?
There's a big difference.
What is the difference?
99.99% of America did not watch his speech. 99% of America literally don't care who Eric Adams is or Cuomo is or who the mayor of New York is. But what is happening, though,
I don't think that's quite right.
Democrats do something that we don't normally do, which is harness the energy of young people. And Zoran Mamdani had the issue that carried the day yesterday. Everything else, set aside everything else about how you feel. He talked about affordability in a way that communicated to voters and resonated. But
why the fuck are these mainstream liberal pundits defending the DSA and Mamdani? Yeah, I don't think it is insufferable, but I do think that we should count our blessings a little bit and be a little bit positive about it, because when, you know, 12 IQ like CNN pundits are talking favorably about Mamdani, that's like a win right there. You know, that's a good thing. I wish Bernie Sanders had gotten a little bit more like moderate coverage favorably back in 2016, you know?
Zoran Mamdani is a part of the future of the Democratic Party. He's not the face of the Democratic Party, or he is not the Democratic Party.
Well, something to also keep in mind is, yeah, calling him a socialist didn't hurt him in this election, because if you look at Democratic voters, many of whom live here in New York City, they are super skeptical of capitalism. Sure. Because of the crony capitalism they've been dealing with. They don't see a future for themselves in this country in terms of being able to afford a house, be able to get married and have children. So young Democrats who were very much galvanized by Mamdani's message were not put off by his message of socialism. They liked it. And that's something important to keep in
But
mind.
Republicans are not campaigning in New York against socialism. They are campaigning nationally against socialism.
And they're losing. And they're losing. Even a lot of young Republicans aren't really anti-socialism. Seriously, like, again, Nick Fuentes shows it best with his deference to Stalin and his admission that he doesn't care about the difference between socialism and capitalism, or doesn't really care which one he'd live in. These people care about social signifiers, not about how the economy is run. They want a white ethno-state, or at least they say they do, but they don't really care how the economy is organized. Nobody cares about capitalism. Certainly not the Republicans, mind you, who are allowing the president to like hit the big red button that collapses the economy. A significant number of Democratic voters, increasing every year, are more and more okay with socialism as a concept. And all of this, by the way, is in spite of the fact that no one knows what socialism is. Nobody has any idea. Nobody has any idea.
They're saying is that the Democrats, don't fall for the bait, is I guess what I'm saying to you guys. I shouldn't give you, I hope you fall for the bait, but
Debosh, you said Nick not
bait
caring about
of making
capitalism / socialism is a deceptive way to weaponize leftist sentiment to deliver right-wing. No. I don't think that's him necessarily being deceptive. I think that's him being retarded. Super far-right people don't care about economic systems because they don't care about policy in general. Like, to them, even something as broad as socialism versus capitalism is policy wonkery. If you tell them socialism is black and Jewish, they'll be a capitalist. If you tell them that capitalism is black and Jewish, they'll be a socialist. It's just not meaningful to them. It's all vibes based. And these are people motivated by like racial animus and sexual insecurity. I don't really think they have strong opinions on any of that stuff. You know what I mean? For the most part, they're just dissatisfied with the status quo, which, if anything, probably makes them more susceptible to critiques of capitalism, even if they're vibes-based and insubstantial.
The face of your party, because the reality is that Abigail Spanberger won by a larger margin in Virginia than Zohran Mamdani won in New York last night. And by the way, he was running against another Democrat. Okay, that's how much he was disliked, right? I mean, he's running Andrew Cuomo, who's a deeply unpopular person in New York.
He sure is.
Won 800,000 votes in that race last night because there were so many Democrats who didn't like Zohran Mamdani. Right. So
both parties campaigned for Cuomo. The media class and the Democratic Party and the President of the United States, while engaging in election interference, all pushed for people to vote for Cuomo. Mamdani still got the most votes of any candidate since 50 years ago. He won against the Uniparty.
The idea that Zohran Mamdani is like overwhelmingly popular across the if you include a country that includes half of Republicans, not a city like New York, where perhaps 7 people are Republicans and like 3 of them voted for Curtis Sliwa in the end. Like, I'm sorry, it's not a representative sample. It's like saying that AOC is representative of the broad spectrum of American politics, and she isn't.
But she's more popular within the Democratic Party than almost anyone else in the party. Certainly more than Jeffries and Schumer. This is the reason why Ben Shapiro's falling off, man. He has been for years. He is, at the end of the day, like, he is the closest thing the right has to a status quo pundit in an era when status quo politics is extremely undesirable across the board, you know? The more he, pearl clutches over socialism, it doesn't work. People on the right, there are young far-right people who are excited about Mamdani. Because, again, to them, it's just vibes. They're just weak people looking for a light. They're moths looking to fly around a flame, you know? Is he a neocon or a fascist? He has a lot of fascist leanings. At the end of the day, political ideologies aren't hardly delineated, right? There's not like a solid line that you can use to concretely describe people, especially when people, as Ben Shapiro does, lie and misrepresent themselves constantly. He's absolutely fascistic. But I think that his fascist tendencies are things that he molded into to try to fit into a Trump era. After 2016, but his heart is still like neocon aligned, you know? He is a dickhead? Yeah, that too. That too. Dude, I have so many fucking tabs open. Holy shit. Mostly because you people keep linking. Which is annoying. But it does give me the tabs.
And the country's doing very well. But as Republicans, you have to talk about it. Because if you don't talk about it, you know, I saw that they kept talking about affordability. Well, Biden was a disaster with affordability. He had the highest inflation rate in the history of our country. But you have to talk about it. It's no good if we do a great job and you don't talk about it. And I don't think they talk about it enough. You know, they have this new word called affordability. And
I love how transparent he is. There is no, you cannot give Trump a message subtly enough for him to not immediately walk over to the nearest media person with a camera in his face and say, just heard about this new word, this brand new word. Nobody's talking about this except me, little old me. They call it affordability. I really do love that about him, you know? He has been copying. Listen, somebody sat him down and said, things are really dire right now. Apparently, Americans like it when they can afford things.
they don't talk about it enough. The Democrats did. And the Democrats make it up because we took over a mess.
It's like a kid that learned a new word. Yeah, he's about at that level mentally. He truthed this just yesterday. Walmart just announced that prices for a Thanksgiving dinner is now down 25% since Joe Biden in 2024. This is incorrect, by the way. You can read the truth. You can read the context if you want. Affordability is a Republican stronghold. Hopefully, Republicans will use this irrefutable fact. So in the course of the 48 hours after getting trounced in the elections, Trump said, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It wasn't anything I did. It was because I wasn't on the ballot, when all available evidence, including messaging from the Republican Party itself, indicates that it was in fact because Trump was on the ballot. Like, you know, his policies were on the ballot. The Republican Party doesn't really offer anything in its candidates other than loyalty to Trump. He shifted hard on ending the shutdown quickly, though his first impulse to doing that was not, you know, negotiating with Democrats, but rather instead to once again pressure Senate Republicans into getting rid of the filibuster, which so far they have just not budged on. So completely just a dead end right there, but he insisted on it anyway. And he's been talking about affordability non-stop, man. He's done it in speeches. He's done it on the tweets. He's done it like to random media people. He just learned. He just learned about this new word. He's copying Mamdani. I don't know how much of the speech he actually watched. I don't know if it's like directly copying Mamdani, like watching him, you know, or if somebody sat him down and was like, listen, okay, we're fucked unless you change something. Either way, huge for us. All it took, Mamdani is a fucking mayor-elect. It took a local politician.
At one point he says, turn the volume up.
So hear me, President Trump, when I say this. To get to any of us, you will have to get through all of us.
How do you respond to that? Does that affect anything you're going to do?
It's a very dangerous statement for him to make, actually. And, you know, you talk about danger. I think it's a very dangerous statement for him to make. He has to be a little bit respectful of Washington, because if he's not, he doesn't have a chance of succeeding. And I want to make him succeed. I want to make the city succeed. I don't want to make him succeed. I want to make the city succeed, and we'll see what happens.
Did you see reaching?
Very weak rhetoric. Weirdly weak rhetoric. No? No? Like, strangely weak. But before the election, he was crowing about how he was going to cut federal benefits to the city of New York if they elect Mamdani. Now it's, you should be nice to me. Literally, you should be nice to me.
Out to him?
I would say he should reach out to us, really. I think he should reach out. Right. I'm here. We'll see what happens, but I would think that it would be more appropriate for him to reach out to us.
Holy shit. I don't think I've ever seen him talk like this.
He should reach out to us.
To him?
Look at his face.
I would say he should reach out to us, really. I think he should reach out. Right. I'm here. We'll see what happens, but I would think that it would be more appropriate for him to reach out to us.
He's 80? Dog, I know what his face looks like. I'm aware of his age. He's being insanely conciliatory here. Insanely.
Zoran Mandami, you said that, you called him a communist. You said that if he won, you would take drastic action against New York City. What kind of actions are you looking at, and will the ICE deportations continue?
Well, I think you have to look. If he is a communist, there's not going to be a lot of activity. So you wouldn't need bridges and tunnels and all the different things that were being planned for New York, I think. And look, I hope New York does well. That's all I can say. I love New York. I grew up in New York. I did well in New York, always did well. And I hope New York does well. That's all.
Jesus. See, he respects him. He's probably heard a little bit. He does have a personal attachment to New York City, for sure. I mean, hometown or whatever. He's scared. Honestly, I think that he's acting this way because he's so unused to having another main character. Genuinely, I think that's the main reason. I think that's the main line right there. He understands that Mamdani represents a threat in the attention economy that up until now has not existed at any point from any person in the Democratic Party. Since 2016, there has been nobody on the left who has met that challenge. And now there is. I mean, geez, I know, like, everyone in the country is talking about him. His posts on Twitter are getting in the hundreds of thousands of likes. I know it's Twitter, hit the right app, whatever, but like that's kind of, hostile territory, but it doesn't matter. Everyone loves him. What do you think his nickname for him will be? I mean, there's no nickname yet. Don't you think that's telling? I think he just doesn't want to look like the aggressor when he does what he has planned to target NYC. You know what? I think you're completely wrong. I think he's actually scared. Like all authoritarian-minded people, Donald Trump is, of course, a massive fucking pussy, which is why he's a bitch anytime he gets criticized. I think he's actually scared. I think that he's so used to dominating the attention economy that the idea of having to share the media space with somebody that confident and that charismatic, I don't think so. He doesn't know how to handle him. Trump privately described Mamdani as a, quote, talented politician and, quote, slick, good talker. Game recognized game, I suppose. I don't think he's going to do anything to New York City. I don't think he can. I think that the reason he's been able to get away with doing what he's done up till this point is because, in Portland, Chicago, and DC, you have, and in LA, you either you have like varying levels of complicity with the people there, or at the very least, they're weak enough that Trump can bowl over them in messaging. Can you imagine how effectively Mamdani could work with that kind of material? Seriously, just think about it. Imagine what Mamdani could do with that. Imagine the day-by-day ads. Imagine Mamdani going out there on the street to interview National Guardsmen to ask them if they think they're doing the right thing, or to confront members of ICE in courthouses and dare them to arrest him. Of course, if he did get arrested, he would be, there would be an army outside the courthouse an hour later. I think that on some level, Trump is aware of the fact that he gets away with what he does in large part by bluffing. The tariffs are illegal, but if he says it confidently enough, people let him do it, at least up until now. There are so many examples of Trump getting away with shit just because no one was willing to call him on it. Mamdani would. I can't believe he's already bending the knee. So all it took is one guy with a spine. Haven't I said that? Haven't I said that? Haven't I said like the pushback will come when you get like strong-willed people who are capable of running the like attention game and playing into the main character syndrome? You literally just need a counter narrative. The fact that there has not been one from the Democrats for effectively a decade now is a level of criminal mismanagement of the will of the American people that should be met with lifelong jail sentences for all of them. Like it is an unimaginable crime that has led to the death and suffering and deportation of so many people, everyone even remotely culpable in the Democratic Party for the decision making, the patterns, the mistakes, all of it. All of them should be held accountable. It's absolutely, it's borderline seditious, 100%. I'm turning into that guy. I'm pointing at Mamdani. I'm unironically saying, look what they've taken from you. Look what they've tried to deny you. You're like you're a Monsanto guy. You eat tomatoes that taste like ash, and all of them are 5 pounds, you know? You live in a pod, okay? Every breath you take is by weight like 80% leaded gasoline fumes, all right? And I'm showing you right over the hill, okay? There's a beautiful valley with your name on it, all right? And Mamdani's there. Look what they've taken. This is how we're supposed to live, man. There used to be Mamdanis growing on trees for free in the streets. You could just walk down Broadway and jump up and pluck a Mamdani, and he would say, "I'm here to serve you." In your hand, I don't know. It's getting weird. The point is, we need Mamdanis in the streets. Sorry. Got a hangnail. All right. Why the fuck do I still have so many tabs? That's crazy. Speaking of affordability.
Yeah, but the USDA has reported, and all of the economists have shown, food prices always go up. There's an inflationary level that's built into grocery prices, but they're going up at a much slower pace. In other words, the economic policies, even though all the provisions of the Working Families Tax Cut have not yet been implemented, that's going to make a dramatic effect. It's going to be like jet fuel to the economy. We have all these pro-growth policies that will bring down costs, increase wages, increase jobs, and more access to the economic rung so that more people can climb up the ladder.
Keep running on that, man. Really good messaging. Oh yeah, speaking of, hold on. There are so many like awful indicators for the economy right now. Hold on. U.S. Army tells soldiers in Germany to go to the food bank. Insanely funny. Insanely fun. Dog, we are never getting a rightist military coup in the United States. These guys fucking hate the Trump administration. Are you kidding me? Having to dejectedly leave the base and get in line and none of the Germans are in line at the German food bank, by the way, because they're all provided for. It's like the German food bank entirely being patronized by American service members lining up for their bratwurst. Everyone's just staring and taking photos. There are like German kids in like tracksuits squatting and taking selfies with a bunch of dejected, hungry-looking soldiers behind them. No, it's great. It's great. I'm sure they fucking love it. The administration. Everything's going really good. $37,000 U.S. soldiers stationed in Germany. Oh, man. A federal judge just ordered Trump has to pay full SNAP benefits by Friday. Yeah, we'll see if they fucking do that. I mean, so far the Trump administration has been ignoring judge orders on this and on a variety of things. We'll see if this actually happens. Keep in mind that even if he does pay the SNAP benefits, right? He's kind of being forced to do a thing that would be politically good for him here. They only have enough money to do it for a month or so. German social benefits remain largely unavailable to U.S. troops, meaning that the soldiers will invariably be left to their own devices. We're gonna get. It's never been seen before. You've heard of homeless veteran? How about homeless active service member? Okay, they're gonna be huddling underneath those like crinkly, like heat retention blankets out there in the streets of Berlin. Jesus Christ. Drinking jet fuel, yeah. They're going to start pillaging. At every other point in history, this is when the soldiers start pillaging. If you don't give a standing army food, they'll just find the nearest village and rape their way to a full stomach. Like this every other time. I mean, basically what I'm saying is the German, the Bundeswehr, you have to surround the U.S. Army bases right now as a matter of self-defense, okay? As we speak, Bundeswehr soldiers are marching out to encircle the U.S. Army bases as they lumber out like zombies looking for their food. Okay, you have to. I'm saying, listen. Okay, it's you or it's them. There's no other way out. So fucking stupid. Oh yeah, speaking of the economy falling apart, the worst October for layoffs in 22 years. Hey, I know this place. You know what I did just like a month and a half ago? I went here to look at the corpse flower bloom. You know, like a corpse flower, those like really big flowers that stink really bad. They have one in the basement, and it bloomed for like a couple of days. So we went and saw it. How'd it smell? Pretty bad. It was pretty cool though. It's a flower the size of a human being. I mean, in the basement? I guess it was the lobby, not the basement. We didn't really have to go down. Announced job cuts last month climbed by more than 153,000. Up 175% from the same month a year earlier. Jesus Christ. Now is not a good time to quit your job, folks. I'm really sorry. Or be careful if you do. The highest total for a single month in the fourth quarter since 2008. And because of the shutdown, we're missing data, too. The September jobs report, which was scheduled for October 3rd, hasn't been released, and there will not be an October jobs report this month. It was originally scheduled for Friday. That has made it difficult for economic policymakers, such as Federal Reserve officials, to make important decisions. Well, didn't the Bureau of Labor Statistics say they were going to switch to quarterly instead of monthly? If I remember correctly, the suggestion that they switch to quarterly was met with so much backlash from the international business community that they walked it back. We think it would be good and based and red-pilled for the American economy if investors had less data with which to make their investments. Yeah, that'll play over well with the capital class. No one's hiring right now, too. I feel doomed. Listen, buddy, okay? Maybe. No, listen, you got this, okay? It's not like we're at 10% unemployment or anything, okay? You just have to be better than, like, 1 in 10 guys. Have you met people on the street? You can meet that bar. Yeah, boot the straps. Thanks, Fosh. You're welcome. My pleasure. Thank you. You're welcome. Oh yeah, speaking of the fucking economy. OpenAI has been making arguments that they're too big to fail. So as we all know, the entire economy is AI data centers now. And that's the only place where there's any growth, and everything else is collapsing in on itself. We are in a recession. But Sam Altman recently said, I'm trying to find the link. Sam Altman said that he thinks that the government has to be like the ultimate final provider for security and stability. I need to find this. Hold on. It's actually really important. We're already reaching the too big to fail. The too big to fail state. Can somebody find this? I'm looking forward to. We're all in it together, okay? Here we go. Wait. Woo! That was like a classic sneeze sound right there. Did the mic catch that? That was like a full. It's like a cartoon sneeze.
At some level, when something gets sufficiently huge.
Is it true that Sam Altman like molested his sister or so? There's like a lot of fucked up stuff about him, right? I mostly focus on the whole he's the Antichrist thing, but he also like fucked his sister like a bunch and ruined her life or something like that. Because some people in chat don't know what I'm talking about, and some people in chat seem to think I thought he was gay. He's Hitler. He can be gay and fuck his sister.
Huge. Whether or not they are on paper, the federal government is kind of the insurer of last resort, as we've seen in various financial crises and insurance companies screwing things up. So I guess, given the magnitude of what I expect AI economic impact to look like, sort of, I do think the government ends up as like the insurer of last resort, but I think I mean that in a different way than you mean that, and I don't expect them to.
What he's talking about here is a bailout. What he's saying is that if the AI bubble is a bubble, which it is, if it collapses, he's saying the government should be responsible for making him whole. Of course, at this point, the big eight, you know, the big like AI, like Nvidia, Microsoft, and so on. If there's a big cratering of their value, the government literally could not afford to bail them out. We're talking like fucking 10 trillion. Yeah, the bubble's unimaginably large. It would be significantly more expensive than the post 2008 like banking failures. Here's a gift article on the Altman allegations. Okay, I don't need to get too into the specifics on how the Antichrist raped his younger sister. Allegedly, or, you know, according to this article. They're all asking for it at OpenAI. Sarah Fryer says the AI giant could reach break even quickly and would like government backstop on data center investments. Jesus. Yeah, okay. David Sachs has already said there won't be bailouts. Well, I mean, that's just David Sachs. He's just a fucking guy. But also, I know there won't be bailouts because the country literally, in order to bail out, okay, we literally could not, the Federal Reserve would not agree to print the amount of money. Anyway, yeah. Everyone knows that we're in a bubble, obviously. Like the AI data center, this whole craze is purely a financial instrument. Nobody actually knows or cares about their potential beyond that. It's meaningless. However, That doesn't mean they're not going to try to rip you off for more money. Speaking of like the financialization of this, guess which two AI companies merged or did a deal recently? POLYMARKET and Google. They're going to be integrating the POLYMARKET gambling odds, you know, the ones who are lying about the odds in order to spice up betting for the Mamdani race, into your Google searches. This is why there's been so much forced AI integration everywhere, even though it objectively worsens the products that you use and nobody actually likes using it. People might choose to download, I don't know, Grok or Chat GPT or whatever, but no one likes the forced AI. People don't like it when any of their UI changes at all. You know, people, as a general rule, people don't like change. These mergers and this integration is being done purely for financial reasons. It's to play up the usefulness of these products to investors who don't actually use them. Snap and Perplexity also announced a deal today. Wonderful. Perplexity will integrate its AI-powered search engine directly into the Snapchat app. Wonderful. And remember, by the way, when you hear shit like $400 million deal, please remember that that is not two companies exchanging a briefcase with $400 million in it. What's actually happening is that they're both meeting in a closed room where they're like, okay, so what if we like both exchange shares and we'll both make money even if one of us pays out more in share value than the other, because the share price increase from both of our companies will be enough to cover the cost of the exchange we're doing. It's all GDP puffery. It's the reason why we're technically not in a recession right now, even though in practice we absolutely are. They're also integrating Kalshi into Google as well. Kalshi and POLYMARKET? What, every time you search, you're going to have... It's going to look like the fucking System Shock 1 UI. All around your... the fucking best casserole recipes. Fucking... people having epileptic fits because of the insane flashing. Yeah, it's going to be Cruelty Squad UI. Jesus Christ. Rip Las Vegas, a major casualty of all this online betting. Ah, well, you know. We take the good with the bad. Look at the breaking news header. Musk's $1 trillion pay plan. That's not surprising to me. If anything, that's proportional to like the degree to which Tesla's share value has been overinflated. They've always agreed to give Elon bajillions of dollars for no reason. You know, they've always been like that. Tesla shareholders, for the most part, are ideologues. God, he looks like shit. The relationship between his shirt collar and his jacket collar is the relationship between him and any woman he hasn't paid. Fucking avoid. Look at that. What's with the System Shock shade? Who the fuck said it was shade, dog? Have you played System Shock 1? It has a bunch of UI bullshit all around the screen. That's just a fact. That's just a fact of the game. I love System Shock 1. I think I might like System Shock 1 like one tiny little nugget less than System Shock 2. Play Planetscape Torment. Subscribe to my website. Fuck you. Why does he keep trying to grow a beard? I just think he forgets to shave. Why would shareholders want to give this goober $1 trillion? That's $1 trillion not invested into the company or paid as dividends. I think there are a few reasons for it. For one, a lot of these shareholders are ideologues who genuinely think that Elon Musk is going to get us to Mars. Seriously, like, we know this. they're stupid. For two, I think they're hoping that if Elon has a very lucrative share-based pay package from Tesla, he'll focus on Tesla and not on being a Nazi on Twitter. Because Tesla shareholders have long been upset that Elon spends so much of his time managing Twitter. Though he's done less so recently, since Trump won, basically. Or since he got ousted from the cabinet, basically. And number three is, I think that to an extent they recognize the fact that Tesla's prestige as a brand is tied very heavily to Musk. Didn't he also threaten them previously? Yeah, well, that's just finance for you. Tesla's never paid a dividend. It's all about fake share price. I mean, it's all fake. It's all fake, dude. Like, it is impossible to overstate the degree to which the entire economy is fake, And that's not, lefties always, they overstep their mark, okay? What I would say isn't that the economy as a concept is fake, because it's not. What I would say is the financialization of the economy is the making fake of the economy. I think that the more an economy becomes financialized, the less it has to do with anything in the real world. And that's pretty much, that's tautological, basically. That's definitional. The more the economy just becomes about doing money games and not about making and selling things, the more abstract and immaterial it becomes. There are economic considerations to take seriously, right? Like the layoffs. That's a real thing. That's a real thing that should be taken seriously, Marx literally predicted this, of course. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, sir. Though Marx could not have anticipated the degree to which this bullshit would go bananas. So he was, if he was around today, I'm sure he'd write something great in it. I'm afraid that he did, in fact, die a while ago. So it's gotten pretty crazy. It's gotten pretty crazy. I think Marx could have easily anticipated Labubus. I disagree with you guys on that one. I do disagree on that one. Would you say any element of the fake economy benefits the general public? No, definitionally, I'd say it can't, because if the more of the collective finite wealth sum is put in the financial block, the less it benefits the real people. They are directly antithetical. I think that real people benefit from the Labubu. At least the Labubu is a physical object which is produced, marketed. Money has to exchange hands and circulate in the real world to produce Labubu, That's a real thing. It's trite and commercial and consumerist and so on, but whatever. So are you. Fuck you, At least it's not financialization. Oh, yeah. So what's a real GDP? I don't think there's any such thing as real GDP in the way that you're referring to. Come on now, you're weak for Buck Mason. I don't know how that counters anything that I've said. I don't think there's anything wrong with buying things. Why is Katie Wilson losing? Well, historically, the votes get more progressive over time. It takes 4 to 5 days for these votes to really get counted. That being said, it is true that the vote drop that came out yesterday was not very good. It actually was slightly more conservative, more trending towards Bruce Harrell than the first day's drop, which is interesting and, to my knowledge, unprecedented. It seems unlikely that trend will continue. If it does, then Bruce Harrell will win with a blowout. We'll see how things go over the coming days. I'm not talking about it because I genuinely have nothing to say. There's no play-by-play that I can do with the information, Is there a single 5-year-old counting or some shit? I do not know why it takes so long to count all the votes. I do not know. Hold on. All right. You're gonna make her scream right outside the studio. You're purring. You're purring. What are you purring over? You were going, eh. a second ago. Why are you purring now? Were you purring as you went? Look at this. Look at this little guy. Now that's a labubu. Very good. That's Bagheera. Okay. Okay, a lot of links, but that's okay. We're looking at a lot of stuff today. Okay, hold on. The Supreme Court is allowing the Trump administration to move forward with the new rules requiring all U.S. passports to display a citizen's biological sex. Unfortunate, but also not surprising to me at all. I don't really know what kind of constitutional challenge the Supreme Court could really, to my knowledge, this is fully within the purview of the executive, right? Because this would be through the State Department. I don't know what the legal argument would be against it. It's obviously like bad, you know, but. Do I need to get a new transport? Or a passport? Maybe. What's the point of this other than transphobia? That is the only point. What does that mean? It means that you might not be able to use your passport to leave the country if you are a U.S. citizen whose passport has a non-binary marker, which was previously allowed. And if you try to renew your passport to get a biological sex marker, which you would need to supply, you know, evidence thereof or whatever the fuck, they might just confiscate your passport. There have been a bunch of stories of trans people just not getting their passports back, or the passport taking too long to come back. But intersex is real? I'm just talking about what the Nazis are ruling. I'm not talking about reality. To be fair, the X designation isn't widely recognized. Yeah, but to be fair, it's an American passport. It doesn't matter. If you're an American citizen and you're traveling to some shit-ass bumfuck country that don't have no X marker, it doesn't matter. You're an American. You've got a big dick, or I don't know, big clit, or whatever the fuck. It's a matter of internal identification for the passport. Different passports have different standards. It's the American government that's shutting down the X marker. Ooh, hold on, sorry. This is on my tabs list for some reason. Evolution of Dino Fashion, 2019 to 2024. This is crazy, man. I tried to warn you guys. We're very much in the baggy pants era, but a lot of people fuck that up too. Hardest fit here, easily, IMO, guy on the right. Those jeans look real nice, settling into those shoes. Long coats? Well, that's a rain jacket. That's not really a proper coat, but not the one in the middle. There are two in the middle. But this one, no. No. Also, men, you can wear shoe options that aren't white sneakers. This is scary, but believe me, okay? It's a really good option. Okay, get ready for this. Boots. If it's cold enough outside that you're wearing pants and a jacket, you could probably wear boots too. I don't wear leather? Yeah. You'll wear plastic. Evolution of Dino Fashion on Love Island, 2019, 2021, 2023, 2024. So here's 2019. Dude, look at these silhouettes. I'm blocking the funniest one. Look at that one on the right, dude. That's crazy. These are all it's essentially women's pants. I mean, they fit like leggings, but they're marketed as jeans. It's insane. And now we have we're a slightly more sensible silhouette for some of these people, you know. Here we go. This fella in the middle is actually dressed very well. Look at that. A nice straight leg down to the white sneaker. This like long unbuttoned. That looks quite nice. That looks quite nice. This is The Bachelorette. No, Love Island. Tragic. As a bi male, I prefer the tighter pants. I think you have bad taste. I'm sorry. Listen, there's nothing wrong with skinny jeans or skinny pants or whatever, but you have to know how to pull it off. Look at some Wisdom Kai videos or whatever, you know? Like get that punk rocker fit going on. But this like there's this weird like hyper skinny, basically legging jeans with New Balance shoes, but then you're gonna pair it with a black dress shirt and then like a polo, like a financial polo vest or something. Like just very, very weird, you know. But it can look good if you know what you're doing. It's just a specific aesthetic. Like, here you go. Harder to pull off if you're fatter, of course, just because, you know, there's a silhouette that's harder to construct, unless you yourself are skinny like the jeans. But yeah, you know, there's nothing innately wrong with it. You just have to know what you're doing. It does also help that these are actual jeans and not leggings that are like printed like jeans, you know? No, I'm not at all a skinny pants hater, you know? It's really just, oh yeah, the Ramones. I'm not a skinny pants hater. You just have to understand the aesthetic you're building. If anything, the hair is the regrettable part here. I think they all look quite nice in their pants. The hair is a part of it? Yeah, the hair is a part of it. The hair is a part. No, I get you. I get you. I understand. Johnny Cash had that shit on. Sure, I don't know what that has to do with what we're talking about, but it is Johnny Cash, you know? High waist is very important for skinny jeans. I think that the high waist is generally good, but jeans tend not to be that high-waisted, you know? You're lucky to find a 13-inch rise on jeans, which is fine. Jeans don't have to be super, super high-rise. That's usually more of a pant, trouser, chino kind of thing, you know? All good, all good. It's all good. It's all good, I'm told, in the hood. I wouldn't know, because I'm a live streamer, you know. How come jeans aren't high-rise? Wide variety of complicated reasons, but if you want to get, like, right down to it, it's because of the kind of workwear pants were typically high-rise so that you don't expose your butt crack when you bend over. Old jeans used to be more high-rise than jeans today. However, those jeans were for miners. So, whereas most workwear pants were made for people like fishermen or farmers or whatever else back in the day, where you had a little bit more like an open kind of environment to move around in. You know, a lot of these people are in like really cramped, tight, confined spaces. I think they had other priorities besides like raising up the rise super high. But actually, hold on. We can look at some older Levi's jeans, and then we'll move back to the politics, folks. We're not done with the politics. We're just taking a little break. It's a big day, you know? One of the things that I find so inspiring about the old Levi's jeans is that they're basically the same as the ones we wear today, you know? I mean, not really. There are differences, but it's just a very recognizable garment. I think that's a good way of putting it, you know? Levi's are overrated as shit. I mean, man, they invented the 5-pocket jean, or at the very least, they were the guys, you know? I think it's okay to give them some credit for it. Yeah, there. 1882, 2 minors in Levi's jeans. Crazy, huh? Used to be higher quality. Well, yeah, but that's the case for basically everything these days. Anyway, as you can see, these jeans are pretty high-rise by modern standards, but they're not high-rise by suiting standards. So the belly button's probably right here. My jeans come up to my belly button, more or less, but high-rise trousers will often come up like an inch or two above that, you know? Are Levi's bad quality today because they're still expensive? Aren't they only like $60 or something? I guess there are cheaper options. Levi's are better than a lot of things you'll get for cheaper, but they're definitely not as good as they used to be. They do offer some higher quality versions made in Japan. You know why they're made in Japan? Because highest quality denim, in my opinion, and in many people's opinions, are made on selvage denim looms, selvage looms, which was a particular way of manufacturing the fabric denim. Nobody makes those looms anymore. No one makes them. So some Japanese companies a little while ago, they bought up the remaining looms, the ones that were just sitting dusty, abandoned in warehouses, and moved them over to Japan. Did we forget how to make them? We now tend to make jeans with projectile looms, which can make them much faster and much cheaper, better for fast fashion. But there are problems. You can't do as much with the fabric. There are problems with durability and construction. And also, I think there's a lot less love for the craft because you're basically like 3D printing. You're speed printing the jeans, basically. Selvage looms run a lot slower and are more expensive to operate, and they break down all the time. But they do produce a lot of the unique idiosyncrasies that you then get with denim that you wouldn't get with other types of clothing. Anyway, sorry. Unfortunately, as is always the case, it's like good food. We've gotten better at making tasty food for cheap, but at the end of the day, if you want a really, really good meal, you're going to have to sit your ass down at an expensive restaurant and, you know, you're going to have to spend some money. Or you could make it, of course, though that doesn't work in this analogy because you probably can't create your own fabric with a loom in your house. You understand what I'm talking about. I'm just saying there's nothing wrong with having Kraft mac and cheese. I've enjoyed Kraft mac and cheese in my time, but if you want a good meal or a good pair of pants, you know, sometimes you have to get a little more specific. Also, the reason these guys are wearing suspenders is because back then belts literally weren't a thing. Suspenders are objectively superior to belts when it comes to holding your pants up, but modern pants these days don't even have suspender tabs, so at least most of them don't. So if you're wearing suspenders nowadays, it's usually because they're clip-on, and I think they don't tend to look that good. The point of suspenders and a belt are both to hold your pants up, but in America, we decided that the way we like holding our jeans up is with belts. There was a middle option. The buckle on the back of the jean. Last thing I'll say, then we'll move on to politics. The old, here, these are from 1915, the buckleback jeans. But when belts got more popular, young people would buy these jeans from Levi's stores, and they would cut off the back buckle because they wanted to use a belt instead. Here you have the suspender, the suspender button tab thingies here. And then you have the back buckle, and it's meant to, you know, tighten it up. Belts are better than this on average, but suspenders are the best of them all. In terms of comfortably holding you up. Belts are so uncomfortable sometimes. Yeah, for sure. I think that belts suck. I only wear them for fashion purposes, really, which I think they can be very fashionable. But yeah, like the actual physical experience of keeping a pair of pants up by tightening it around your waist doesn't feel that good. You want to wear a pair of pants that fits you naturally and well. and won't slide down on their own, because otherwise you're literally tourniqueting your midsection. It's not very comfortable. So ideally now, when I'm wearing a pair of pants, the pair of pants fits me perfectly on its own. I add a belt for aesthetics. Suspenders hurt my shoulders. Am I just a weenie? Suspenders should never hurt your shoulders. You're only holding up the weight of the band of the pants. If they're hurting your shoulders, it's probably because they're too tight. Do you shop at chain stores like Macy's? No. I did see that good old Bubsy, actually. As someone who runs a vintage store, I can tell you that all vintage pants fit better than modern ones. Well, one of the big problems with fitting modern pants is the fact that they're all made with spandex. Spandex is meant to make the pants more comfortable, and it does kind of make them more like leggings, but it also means they don't fit as well, you know? In the same way that like a glove, like a plastic or polyurethane glove will fit any hand, but it will never feel like it fits your hand the way that like a well-tailored leather glove or like a woven cotton glove could, you know? You get this problem of like the cloth will like bunch and sag in weird places, and it will never properly fit. It won't feel securely snug at your waist either, because it's not, you know, a sturdy fabric. Or would you recommend buying jeans? Depends on where you live. But probably the cheapest options for high quality salvage denim that you're going to get are Naked and Famous or unbranded. There are some local companies that run smaller batch operations that you might be able to find better deals on, but you know, I don't know everything, of course. Do they make women's? It's harder to find women's salvage denim. There's just less of a market for it, but it's out there. That's the term you want to find, by the way. Salvage denim. That's the term you'd be looking for. Uniqlo is fine if you're boring. I think Uniqlo makes fine stuff. Selvage or salvage? S-E-L-V-E-D-G-E. Salvage denim. It refers to the kind of loom that it's made on. This is a selvage loom. Here's a better but slightly more abstracted picture of one. Big? Not actually that big. Slow, too. Anyway, sorry. How's the fabric blue? They dye the yarns. Had to close the door. Okay. Cock and balls riding up my shorts. Just had to fix that real quick. You know how it is, folks. I know you're paying. It's just part of living. It's just part of living. Okay. We're almost done clearing out the tabs.
For possibly, we're going to do things to Nigeria that Nigeria is not going to be happy about, and may very well go into that now disgraced country. Guns are blazing.
Why are we threatening to invade another country?
To completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible, horrible atrocities. I'm hereby instructing our Department of War to prepare for possible action. If we attack, it will be fast, vicious, and sweet, just like the terrorist thugs attack our cherished Christians. These are
I'm just going to call it now. Nothing happens. Is this like the South African white farmers thing? Did somebody show him a video of like Christians in Nigeria getting mistreated or something, and now he's like hard gunning for it. Probably an AI video. I don't think it's an AI video. I'm pretty sure it's real. I mean, Ron Filipkowski posted it. This is AI, I'm pretty sure. Nigeria. Trump. What's going on here? Yep. U.S. military draws up Nigeria plans with limited options to quell violence. Okay. Trump's military threats spark fear and hope for Nigeria's Christians. Okay. Trump orders DOD to get ready to invade Nigeria, guns ablazing. What the fuck is going on? Yeah, here we go. Trump saw a segment on Fox News. Within an hour, he was laser focused on Christians' treatment in Nigeria. There we go. That sounds about right. The Fox network ran a story on how Christians were being targeted by Islamic groups in Nigeria. Two sources familiar with the matter told CNN. The president was immediately angered by it, one of the sources said, and asked to get a further read-in on the issue shortly after the leakiest administration in history. Shortly after Air Force One touched down at West Palm Beach, he began posting on Truth Social. Christianity is facing an existential threat in Nigeria. Thousands of Christians are being killed. Radical Islamists are responsible for this mass slaughter, he posted, adding he is making Nigeria a, quote, country of particular concern under the International Religious Freedom Act. Main issue throughout the weekend. Yeah, I'm going to call it. I'm going to say nothing happens here and that he forgets about this. He literally just saw a Fox segment. Can I find it? Is it on their YouTube channel? Did they clip that? I would love to see what he saw that made him so ass mad, if I may. Okay, 3 days ago, 4 days ago. It's from 4 days ago. Okay, let me see. I don't know if I can find the segment he's responding to.
If the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians, the United States will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria.
I don't think the Nigerian government is allowing it. I think that's incorrect. I don't think they like it. I don't think they're happy about it.
And may take action to wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities, especially against innocent women and children.
We're talking about Boko Haram, right? Guy who just found out Boko Haram exists.
President Trump is ratcheting up the pressure on Nigeria. Islamic terrorists there have been murdering Christians as well as fellow Muslims for years. The president is threatening not just to pull aid from that West African country unless it stops, but also send...
Isn't Nigeria like the most Christian African country? Yeah, Nigeria is a largely Christian country, and they've been dealing with Boko Haram for ages and ages.
In the military, as he put it...
The government of Nigeria does not... To be clear, the government of Nigeria does not like it when Boko Haram kills Nigerian Christians. They don't like that. Half Christian? Okay, 50-50.
Guns a-blazing. Let's bring in Fox News contributor Jonathan Morris. Jonathan, the president is obviously pretty upset about what's going on in Nigeria. Is military action the solution?
John, I go back to President Trump's first inauguration address. And
I don't fucking care about you. You're a loser. Shut up.
On Nigeria, just wanted to ask you, do you envisage U.S. boots on the ground?
Could be. I mean, a lot of things I envisage, a lot of things. They're killing record numbers of Christians in Nigeria, that part of the world, very mad. They're killing the Christians. They're killing them in very large numbers. We're not going to allow that to happen.
President,
President Trump not ruling out sending U.S. troops to Nigeria as thousands of Christians are brutally massacred by Islamic terrorists.
Trump's support earning rare praise from rapper Nicki Minaj, who thanked him in a public post for, quote, taking this seriously.
U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Michael Waltz, followed up with an invite to the embassy to discuss the issue, to which Minaj said she would be honored. Ambassador Michael Waltz joins us now. Ambassador, thank you so much for being here. For people who aren't aware, we're all hearing about the killings of Christians in Nigeria. How bad of a problem is it? Tell us what's happening.
Oh, it's a horrendous problem, and you have to give President Trump a lot of credit. He's been on this religious freedom issue for quite some time. In fact, he was the first head of state, the first president ever to host an international religious freedom conference at the United Nations back in 2019. He designated then Nigeria as a country of particular concern. Guess what? The Biden administration lifted it. And what you have is a terrorist organization, particularly in the north in Nigeria, Boko Haram, that is literally burning churches, massacring people, torturing people, running them out of their homes to the tunes of tens, if not hundreds.
Boko Haram are wackos because they kill anyone, basically, even Muslims. They're just ISIS. Boko Haram is just ISIS. They're just a regional. Functionally, you can just think of them as like North African ISIS, and that's it. You know, yeah, they kill tons of Muslims.
Hundreds of thousands. And so President Trump put a spotlight on it. And, you know, really kudos and thanks to someone like Nicki Minaj as a Christian, but as someone with the following.
West Africa, but sure. They're in North Africa, too. Don't you? West Africa. Fine. Northwest Africa, then, okay? They're localized in Morocco. Fuck you.
That she has, and with a lot of followers who may not be paying attention to these kinds of issues, to kind of double down. It's a collaboration I don't know that I would have foreseen over the weekend. Yeah.
But how about, here's some of these stats. They kind of blow you away. The Christians persecuted in Nigeria. How about 18,000 churches burned since 2009, 50,000 killed since that same year, 5 million displaced, 7,000 killed in 2025. This is raging right now. How?
Get any impression Vosh doesn't know shit about Africa? What did I do? What the fuck? You're being so mean to me. What did I do?
Well, can you gauge what are the possible retribution? What could you actually do to stop this?
Well, I served in Nigeria when in my special forces unit in 2015. We provided them training. We were training their Navy SEALs on how to get after Boko Haram. We provide them arms and other types of security assistance.
You helped rescue those ladies, the girls.
Remember the girls, the 300 girls, and Ainsley. It is just heartbreaking and disgusting. The vast majority were sold as sex slaves and brides into these Islamist organizations like Boko Haram and ISIS. So we work a lot with the Nigerians, and what the president is saying is, I'm not going to put this as a back burner issue. This is an upfront issue, and Nigeria, you need to take it more seriously. I mean, look, they've been fighting these insurgents, but it's been kind of up and down over the years. And again, when you have the Biden administration come in and say, this isn't important, we're going to lift.
I don't think that's what happened. I just think the Biden administration probably thinks that a country being attacked by ISIS doesn't mean that we should treat the country like it's a terrorist country.
Things need to be done. It's bad. And if things are not done, this will continue, because Nigeria, I know, they're not willing to stop anytime soon. So for me, it's very important they come in, because this has been happening for a couple of years now. Nothing has been done. So I feel...
This may have to do with Nigeria's large rare earth deposits. No. Don't do the attributing a plan thing. Don't do the attributing a plan thing. Trump literally saw a Fox News segment and got mad and tweeted, and then he did a speech about it. It's just that. I think it's that report. Yeah, I'm just looking through their coverage of it. I want to know what report. This is from 2 weeks ago? Okay, it might be this.
35 faith leaders are calling on President Trump to act on the deadly persecution of Christians in Nigeria.
Since 2009, over 52,000 Christians have been killed, including 7,000 this year. More than 18,000 churches have been burned since 2009, and over 5 million Christians have been displaced.
Fox News contributor Raymond Arroyo joins us now. Raymond, I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so glad we're doing this topic. We don't speak enough about the persecution of Christians
in the world, the #1 persecuted religion in the world.
Jesus fucking Christ.
What can you tell us about what...
I just noticed this guy's shoes. The guy on the right? Yeah, I know.
What's going on in Nigeria and why we've been so slow to respond?
Well, first of all, just to put this in context, if you put together all the Christians persecuted for their faith around the globe, Rachel, they do not compute to the high numbers in Nigeria. As Charlie just mentioned, 52,000 killed since 2009. That equals, there's a group called Inter-Society, which does pretty good polling on the ground. They say that's about 35 Christians killed every day. Okay, 3 churches are destroyed.
They say, like, bro can't use a calculator. What the fuck are you talking about? Dude, this shit is so Hitlerite. I'm telling you, Fox News 20 years ago, like, when we invaded Iraq, we weren't pretending that we were liberating Iraqi Christians only from Saddam Hussein. We talked about a Saddam Hussein, like, as a dictator to everyone. It's so fucking Hitlerite. Like, oh, how many Christians? Can you imagine if the site was like, how many white people? How many whites are under attack? Like, we did that with South Africa, of course. Those stats don't make any sense, by the way. It's all horse shit, you know. Christians are just big fucking whiners. At least the Muslims, the jihadists, whatever, at least their grievance culture bullshit is literally objectively correct. If a Muslim terrorist says our religion is internationally under attack by the West, they are correct. That is a defensible statement, you know? But Christians, they run all the world's most powerful countries, basically, and they still won't shut the fuck up. They still won't shut the fuck up. Defending Christendom all around the world from these people, they never go to fucking church. Anyway, stupid. I think this is going to go absolutely nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. Speaking of dead-end ideas, here's the ADL. They had to balance it out. Mamdani had a good appearance on Morning Joe right before winning the election. Now we have to balance it out. Now we have fucking Greenblatt on. This free.
And if he's 34, I can call him a young man. He won like the greatest landslide probably in New York history. I mean, certainly in recent times. Evil. And he used that moment to say that he will fight anti-Semitism in New York and stand shoulder to shoulder with his Jewish brothers and sisters.
So again, I'm going to judge him not on what he says in a speech, but on what he does over time.
Right.
This morning,
well, if you did that, then you wouldn't be accusing of anti-Semitism because he's literally never done anything anti-Semitic.
And I will tell you, I've gotten so many calls from Jewish New Yorkers who are alarmed. Their kid was harassed in college. Their child was bullied in K through 12. Their synagogue was vandalized. So here's what ADL is doing right now. If you are a Jewish New Yorker, we have your back, and we will hold Mamdani, Mayor-elect Mamdani, accountable. Look, it's not about politics. This morning we launched a tip line at adl.org NYC. So if you are Jewish and you experience...
It's not about politics, but we're only doing this now, even though we've been documenting an uptick in anti-Semitic incidents in New York for years now. It's definitely not about politics that we're explicitly doing this in response to Mamdani's win, even though by our own bullshit standards of tracking anti-Semitism, which again, literally any anti-Zionist, pro-Palestinian protesting counts as anti-Semitism to them, it makes no sense.
Anti-Semitism.
Yeah, and it's only in NYC. Sorry, Jews in LA. Sorry, you don't have a Muslim mayor.
Where you work or where you worship or where you live. We want to know so we can track it.
Well, and
look, I tell you,
there has been anti-Semitism in New York that we've talked about time and time again.
Yeah.
This isn't something new because he got elected last night. Will you work?
Thank you.
Work with him? Will you sit and talk to him? Will you have him be a part of this process?
He has said publicly that he will not work with the ADL and Jonathan Greenblatt. He said that, not me. Look, we're in
based. Good. That's also pro-Semitism of him. The ADL is an obscenely anti-Semitic organization.
Institution. This organization was founded in 1913. We work with mayors and governors and presidents, irrespective.
And why has he said he won't work with you?
You have to ask him.
He said why. Joe, please say he said why.
But at the end of the day, yesterday, the Jewish community, Joe, the UJA and the ADL and the American Jewish Committee released a joint statement. And we are concerned because Jewish New Yorkers are alarmed. And
how long do we have to listen to these bitches, these whiny fucks' concerns? You say, we're going to judge him by his actions, not by his words, but all of his actions have been judged. None of them have been anti-Semitic. So then what are you basing this off of? If you're judging him off his actions, then what actions are you judging? Like, what you're presupposing that he's anti-Semitic based on what?
What I can tell you is I look right at the camera. If you are a Jewish New Yorker, we have your back. We launched the Mamdani Monitor this morning.
It's not about politics. It's not about politics, guys. It's not. Listen, it's not about politics. Trust me, we just really care about Jews. But we're only doing this now for this one Muslim guy. Just now.
Simply going to track.
He's doing this, by the way, because the ADL has become increasingly irrelevant over time. Democrats don't take them as seriously now that they're so obviously AIPAC aligned. Greenblatt is a fucking joke. This guy's a fucking Hitlerite, by the way. He has openly worked with and palled around with far-right anti-Semites because nothing matters to him except promoting the goods of Israel. That's it. He would happily sacrifice American Jews to a rise of domestic neo-Nazism if it in some way benefited Israel. He does not give a fuck. And a lot of Democrats have started to recognize that. The ADL has lost an enormous amount of legitimacy. I don't know, like you guys realize that up until about, well, basically up until October 7th, the ADL was thought of as being more or less nonpartisan, right? Oh, sure, if you knew about the ADL, you were aware of their heavy Zionist slant. Absolutely. But to the general public, the ADL considered them to be, yeah, the hate crime index, the source of impartial read on, you know, bigotry broadly. And now they're a far-right partisan hack. The Greenblatt's constantly doing these desperate face-saving interviews with people all over the place. I bet you he got this interview with Joe Scarborough specifically because he complained that Mamdani got on and he didn't. I bet you. He's a whiny little fuck. I bet you he did that. I bet you he said that it would be anti-Semitic to platform Mamdani, but not him. It's exactly the type of shit he would say.
Again, not what he says in a single speech, but what he does. And at the end of the day, my goodness, I hope he is incredibly successful at fighting anti-Semitism. I hope he undertakes steps to keep Jewish New Yorkers safe.
Right.
But it is my job to make sure that every Jewish New Yorker isn't living in fear.
That's what I want you to do. At the same time, you obviously you want to judge him by what he's saying now, right? And what he does moving forward, not a tweet in 2022 or 2023, right?
When did Joe turn into the strongest warrior for the working class, man? I don't know if it's Mamdani specific. I feel like when it comes to Mamdani, I feel like consistently he has been punching he's been punching like harder and further than you'd expect. Because I've been seeing Joe, basically my entire life, I feel like I've been subjected to Joe Scarborough. For the entirety of my channel, I've seen this guy. I have a pretty good litmus test on him. I feel like I've got a good read in his politics. I feel like he's got a soft spot for Mamdani. Maybe it's a New York thing, you know?
So we will judge him on the people he appoints, on the policies he implements, and on the programs that he launches. I want to know, what's he doing in the education system? Will it be fact-based or politicized for our kids?
Right.
I want to know, will Jewish houses of...
What the fuck are you talking... What are you... Changing the curriculum? What are you talking about?
Worship and JCCs continue to be protected because they're under threat. I want to know, is he going to change the purchasing policies because of his ideological commitment to BDS? Potentially hurting the pocketbooks of New Yorkers. Look, he won yesterday, and I saw the previous segment. Amazing numbers. People care about affordability in this city, and I get that. But as an organization that's seen levels of anti-Jewish hate that literally have broken records every year, my job is to keep them safe, and we won't stop.
So these people fucking love anti-Semitism, man. It's impossible for me to overstate how much I hate this guy. Every time anything anti-Semitic around the world occurs, this guy leaps up and he's like, fuck yes, I get to make another statement about Mamdani. It's literally his entire job. The ADL used to be, I mean, again, Greenblatt's been around for a while with the ADL. The bias has been here for a while, but especially since October 7th, he is locked in on this. And the ADL has gone from a general monitor on hate crimes to just being a partisan, far-right, pro-Israel organization that masquerades as a civil rights and anti-hate speech and anti-hate crime advocacy group, you know? And but no, he delights. He does not want these levels to go down at all. There is nothing that would make Greenblatt happier. I mean, he would be delighted if there was a rash of anti-Semitic hate crimes across New York City. Muslims and Jews fighting. And if he can't find those, if he can't get his fucking hands on those to market them, to make them big, he will invent them. I said it before and I'll say it again. This guy is going to be, every single day, the ADL is going to be processing. They are going to be fear-mongering. They are going to be encouraging derangement from the citizens of New York. They want every single Jewish New Yorker, of which there are many, to be getting spooked by their shadows, you know? They want every Jewish New Yorker to call in a hate crime every time they see like a group of rowdy brown kids outside, just like walking around making jokes or whatever, you know? They want to turn New York City into a war zone. They want to make the Jewish people fearful and paranoid so that they can keep up their line, which is to support Israel.
I pushed him yesterday on BDS.
Yes.
He's espoused that policy for a long time. Will he bring it into the to the mayor's mansion? And he effectively said yes, a version of it. He makes a distinction as many.
I personally think that it's good to not economically bolster genocidal apartheid states. You know, I think that's cool. All of America basically agreed to this when Russia invaded Ukraine. You know, like that was pretty. Like people didn't really have an issue with it in that context.
People do between Jews in New York and the state of Israel. What he's saying is, I take my brothers and sisters, Jewish New Yorkers, separate from the policies of the state of Israel. BDS, he says, is meant to punish the state of Israel. How do you respond to that distinction?
Well, look, there's lots of room to criticize policies of the state of Israel. But what I worry about, what New York...
Lies. If you do that, he'll call you anti-Semitic. He's just lying. This is what it looks like to lose ground. The ADL has consistently attacked people who have criticized Israel as being anti-Semitic, no matter how well measured those criticisms were or how moderate they were in their scope. This is backing down. This is what it looks like to win. Now even this fucking lunatic has to go like, no, we wouldn't accuse you of being anti-Semitic for that. You're losing ground, motherfucker. There's no room for you anywhere. The Democrats are too anti-genocide. The Republicans are all neo-Nazis, and all of us are sick of you. Fuck off.
Worry about is when the guy gets assaulted for wearing a yarmulke and they hit him in the head and yell at him as a Zionist. Or when the governor's mansion in Pennsylvania is burned down by someone who claims Josh Shapiro has a policy on Palestine, which he doesn't. Or when 2 young Jewish people are shot and killed outside the Jewish Museum by someone who yells Free Palestine. Or when
what he's neglecting to mention in the case of those 2 Jewish people, one of them was Christian, I believe, is that they were envoys for the state of Israel, were they not? Didn't they have some official like government role that involved them in some way with Israel, or am I misremembering? Yes. So this is another one of their big tricks, right? Like, so if you attack a Jewish person, or they have a yarmulke, whatever, if a person has a yarmulke, they're probably Jewish. If you attack them and say "fuck you, Zionist," that is anti-Semitic, right? Now, if they're at a rally where they're saying it's good to kill Palestinian children, and they're holding up a big sign saying we need more dead Palestinians, and you punch them and say, fuck you, Zionist, that is not anti-Semitic, because the thing you're attacking them over, one would assume, is the Zionism. Well, in either case, it's a crime because it's assault, but whether or not it's a hate crime is, a meaningful distinction.
Elderly person is firebombed in Boulder, Colorado. Like an 80-year-old woman by someone angry about Gaza.
We're all shocked, and we all find this abhorrent, and I'm sure that...
Joe's like, okay, yeah, we've heard this nonstop. I work with the media. I get it.
The next mayor would say the same thing, wouldn't he?
You have to ask him.
Well, I think
this fucking cunt, dude. Are you kidding? I don't know. Does Mamdani criticize firebombing 80-year-olds? I don't know. So unconvincing. Stupid fucking bad faith actor. But he can't even commit to it. Like, why not just say Mamdani probably likes it? Why not say Mamdani encouraged them? Why not? He thinks it's such a banger? Yeah, because he's a fucking pussy.
Yeah, I said the same thing.
Though, hold on, wait. This doesn't even land.
Ask him.
Well, I think you said the same thing. I don't know. I think you have to. I think you look at the fact that he has gone to one high holiday service after another. He is.
It's unconvincing. Greenblatt is an arch Zionist. He's one of the big guys over here trying to make the world worse. And yeah, the rhetoric is just not fucking convincing. It's not convincing.
To the Jewish community. That's not exactly right. He went to an anti-Zionist synagogue, which is like going to the black.
Sorry, Greenblatt. I forgot. He went to see bad Jews. Oh, sorry. My bad. He went to an anti-genocide synagogue, as opposed to a militantly pro-genocide synagogue. Is he doing the bad Jew argument? He's literally doing the bad Jew argument. These people are so fucking anti-Semitic.
Out at CPAC and saying you understand African Americans. I mean, come on.
You're saying he hasn't talked to the Jewish community?
I don't know of a mainstream. Now, look, he has been to synagogues. He has Jewish people working for him for sure.
Right.
But if you look at the biggest institutions that represent Jewish New Yorkers, I have yet to see him engage with any.
The ADL is the biggest organization that represents you. Again, yeah, we'll judge him based on his actions. So what actions has he done that you take issue with? You'd have to ask him. So has he done anything at all that you find objectionable? You'd have to ask him.
Of those. Now, my hope is the mayor-elect will do so in the days and weeks to come. But in the meantime,
but you're not suggesting that he supports the firebombing in Colorado.
Never said that.
You're not suggesting that he supports the firebombing.
I never said that.
Joe's calling him out for implying it.
No.
There is a lot.
Let me be clear.
There's a lot of blurring and blending here, Jonathan. And I love you, and you're on all the time, and I'm always a fierce defender of yours. But you seem to be blurring a lot of things together, and then looking into that.
I can't believe it. He's actually behaved. This is more credibility than I'm used to seeing from any media outlet. Yeah, 100%. He was implying that Mamdani would have supported those attacks because he said that we'd have to ask him to see whether he supports firebombing an 80-year-old. Have we gotten a specific statement from Mamdani on the massacring of the American journalist by the Saudis? Back a decade or so ago. You'd have to ask him. I'll assume he's against it.
Cameron say, call us. We're going to make sure that he doesn't support the.
I say to Jewish New Yorkers, call us if you feel unsafe.
If you feel, not even if anything happens. If you feel unsafe. This is the hyper paranoid suburban mom, crime wave. This is how they get you, right? This is how you have Minnesotan suburban white moms who think that when they see a napkin under their car, it's because they're about to get kidnapped and gang raped by Salvadoran sex traffickers or something. This is this is the goal. These people are anti-society. They're Hitler, and I hate them, and they should all be in jail. I hate them. I despise. It should be a crime to be this anti-society. The explicit goal of this rhetoric is to make everyone fearful and hateful towards their neighbor. It's anti-human. It's anti-life. It's anti-life. We're never going to fix the birth rates at this rate, man.
Okay. I say to Jewish New Yorkers, call us if you are harassed. And so let me clarify.
Harassed? Sure, yeah. If a Jew gets harassed, that's bad. Presumably, though, we're talking about them getting harassed for being a Jew. And if the aforementioned Jewish person is not in the middle of advocating for a genocide, if they got harassed for that, I don't know. I think that defending a genocide is a very harassable position, If you're out there in the street, it's like when people say, "Oh, they're attacking Christians on the street," and when they say attack, what they mean is verbally assaulted, and by verbally assaulted, of course, they mean yelled at, and by Christian, they mean those guys who hold up the big yellow signs near the convention center in downtown LA that say that God hates gay people and they're all going to burn in hell. Oh, you yelled at that guy? You yelled at him? Christians are being attacked everywhere.
What are you calling his team, Mamdani's team? Or how about talking to people who may...
What do they do if there's a pro-Palestinian Jewish person and they get harassed by a Nazi? These people will drop pro-Palestinian Jews like a hot iron. I've seen it happen many, many times. The moment a Jew doesn't meet their definition of what a good Jew is, they get dropped and they treat him despicably with open anti-Semitic contempt. Yeah, he did it in this interview. Yeah, trust me. He would not... If there was like a big, prominent, progressive, anti-genocide, anti-Zionist synagogue, and it got like a hate crime, you know, some attack or whatever, the line from him, I bet you, would be like, well, you know, that's kind of what you expect, right, with the policies they're pushing for. They would imply that the anti-genocide synagogue is like enabling Nazism or the swastikas or whatever, anti-Semitism broadly. My partner's Jewish and anti-Israel, and her Zionist family members have shunned her completely. It's fucking sickening, man. How long is it going to take? Because we're going to have to deal with this fact, right? Like, we talk about there being a lot of conservative Christians. Jews have shifted, like, pretty far to the right over the past couple of years because there's been a multi-billion-dollar media push to convince them that they are personally, morally aligned with Israel, and anyone who says otherwise or who disagrees with Israel is attacking them. And as a consequence, you have like a lot of actual far-right ethno-nationalist Jews in America, you know? That ain't good.
Who may know him and you.
Let's see if
like
that happens.
Reverend Al. Talk to Reverend Al. Maybe you guys can get together and have lunch and talk. Isn't that a more constructive thing to do?
Talk right here. That would be great.
Reverend Al will do it. Come here, talk right here.
But I won't be.
I'll say it, NYC is more of a Jewish homeland than modern Israel. It objectively is. In Israel, they're scraping together any bit of fake culture they can. Hummus. Yeah, we made hummus. Couscous or something, type shit. Meanwhile, in New York and LA, Jews did like half of all culture or something. Jews and black people. I can't do the reverse dap, so I can't dap. I can't do both halves of the dap. I don't have that kind of I don't have that kind of mental energy. Jews and black people teamed up to basically produce an uninterrupted century of American cultural hegemony, you know? Italians taking strays, what the fuck? Okay, I'm simplifying. Meanwhile, over in Israel, they're like, what's your favorite Israeli food? Couscous. Sorry.
Look, like, I am willing to have conversations, hard conversations. Right. Because my job is to keep the community safe. But let me be clear, I'm not accusing him of those things. What I want to make sure is he doesn't create an environment where Jewish people are unsafe. He doesn't create an environment where globalized intifada becomes a mantra.
And if he does, we will be the first.
And the only fucking people who are saying globalize the intifada over and over and over and fucking over again are you. You guys are. This is why I said he shouldn't have apologized or taken back his language in this, by the way. It literally did not change a single... By the way, I don't have a problem with people saying globalize the intifada. It was politically inconvenient for Mamdani. I don't give a shit. It literally means globalize the resistance. Somebody in chat yesterday said that up until post-October 7th, or like the recent drama or whatever the fuck, in Arabic, the term for the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising was the Warsaw Intifada, meaning the Jewish resistance against Nazis in Warsaw, Poland. And they changed it due to backlash because the far-right Zionists wanted to make intifada like the global spooky word. Which is insane. It's rewriting history. That was the Arabic term to describe the Jewish uprising against Nazi oppression. And they were like, no, you can't use a dirty Muslim word to say, we're going to change your term for the historical event.
As you know, right?
I do.
We'll be the first to call him out. Jonathan.
Yeah, I mean, we should also note, polling last week, Quinnipiac poll said he had the support of about a third of Jewish New Yorkers, and that many had said that it was about policies of the state of Israel. That is why.
And all it took was like the combined might of the entire American media empire bearing down on Mamdani to tell them over and 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 over again that he was an anti-Semite.
They resonate because they were upset with what they saw in Gaza as well. So that was Joe sort of anticipated what I was going to say here, is that why not use this moment is just a chance to have an olive branch, to shake a hand, to have a conversation with him and his team.
Look, wouldn't suit his political agenda. It is very telling that the ADL has not said we will work with Mamdani to fight anti-Semitism, but has rather said we're going to implement a Mamdani tracker so that every paranoid New Yorker can call in to inflate, our statistics.
We criticize candidate Trump, and we have to work with the Trump administration. We've criticized candidate Mamdani, and we will have to work with him as the mayor. That's what we do at ADL.
You haven't said you'd work with him.
Don't you play for the red team or the blue team? We're the umpire who calls balls and strikes.
What do you want him to
That's anti-Semitic.
do?
Good question. I would like to see the mayor-elect live up to what he said last night in terms of being there for every Jewish New Yorker. So what does that mean? Confirm there will be no extremists in his administration. Confirm.
Define extremist.
That he will not bring politics into the education system for K through 12 kids. I want to make sure.
Politics is part of a child's education in K to 12. There are classes on it.
Sure that the people, the programs he introduces, like to keep Jewish New Yorkers safe at their synagogues and their JCCs, are maintained. Commissioner Tisch has done an amazing job. Let's keep that going. I want to make sure that he doesn't break up the task force of the NYPD that's kept Jewish people safe. And there have been mobs outside our Hillels and our synagogues. So
he's keeping Commissioner Tisch. He has said that he would keep deploying people to synagogues as needed.
Basically, I'd like to see a plan. We asked for this during the campaign. We didn't see it. I'm hopeful that he'll do it now. All I care about is keeping the community safe at a time when, again, the acts of harassment and vandalism and violence are higher than they've ever been. So, Mike, all I want is clarity on.
Also not true, by the way. Anti-Semitism is more popular than ever before if you define being anti-Israel as anti-Semitism. I can think of several times in history that anti-Semitism was more popular than it is right now.
What he will do. Not pablum and rhetoric and speeches, but real world action.
Let's see if we can get y'all. Let's talk to Reverend Al and see if we can get y'all together, first of all. And secondly, if there's any slippage in any other, you come here on this show.
I know you will.
We'll talk about it.
I appreciate it.
There.
I think that Joe Scarborough did a phenomenal job here for Joe Scarborough. I mean, he wasn't like, I don't know, Mamdani or God or whatever. But I think that for Joe, considering the pretty low bar I hold this show to, I think that he did a pretty good job. It seemed like nobody here. The overall tone that I got from this, by the way, was exasperation. And we're all exasperated, aren't we? We're so tired of hearing the whiny, the Zionist browbeating, the obsession with me, listen to me, my claims, my concerns, my feelings, accept my standard, my judgment, everything revolves around me. If you disagree with me, you're an anti-Semite. Everyone's tired of it. Everyone's sick of it, dog. So it feels like, because there were multiple times where Joe Scarborough was like, yeah, okay, basically, to me, that's very hopeful. I do think genuine anti-Semitism is rocking because of no. Oh, listen, okay, it is. It's just all from the right. That's it. That's listen. Go watch Greenblatt. Watch his interviews. Watch his what he puts out there. He doesn't talk about that at all. He doesn't. Overwhelming wave of neo-Nazism from the right, Nazi staffers, swastikas found in congressmen's offices. He doesn't give a shit. You know what the ADL said recently in response to this huge swell of support for Nick Fuentes after his show with Tucker Carlson? All the ADL put out, to my knowledge, was a couple of statements and a tweet saying they agree with a statement made by another person saying there's no room for anti-Semitism. Can you imagine if on the left there was somebody as anti-Semitic as Nick Fuentes who had gotten an interview with somebody as prominent as Tucker Carlson and everyone was supporting them and beleaguering a prominent Jewish left pundit the way that Nick Fuentes did to Shapiro? Do you think that Greenblatt would respond to that with one or two tweets and a mild denunciation by proxy? Fuck no. He'd be talking about it for years. They would be on that shit. He'd be having rallies. He'd be out there on every mainstream media channel. Everyone would be hearing him out about it. We'd be having a national conversation about it. But of course, he doesn't care about anti-Semitism. So just keep an eye on this fucking lunatic, okay? Just keep an eye on him. He's going to be one of the main enemies of Mamdani's governance. He's going to direct the ADL to work as an anti-Mamdani front. He's going to use all of the resources at his disposal, and both moderate Democrats and Republicans will signal boost him in doing so. I fucking hate this guy. I really do. Chad has baldism. Not all bald people are evil, but he definitely sells it. Okay. I gotta read donos, guys. I know I started stream late, but in fairness, it's because I woke up and I was sleepy. Bosch, there's definitely been an increase in anti-Semitism on the left, no? I see so many people call the Star of David a hate symbol or praising people like Candace Owens. Honest to God, I'm going to be real. I just think that's the Zionist fault. I really do. The Zionists have put in so much work to conflate Jewishness and Zionism that it's led to, predictably, an increase in people conflating Jewishness and Zionism. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be on the lookout for that stuff. Certainly, I've always been incredibly disciplined and specific with my criticisms with regard to the difference between Judaism and Zionism. So I know that I'm on the right side of that fence. But like I like we have to assign blame appropriately here. I don't think the left is getting more anti-Semitic. I think that Israel has been so monstrous, both to Palestinians and in their influence, you know, by proxy, American, AIPAC, whatever, over American governance. What they've done, what they've associated, what they've pushed for has been so bad and so overwhelming that it has led to a lot of these outcomes that, frankly, they're looking for, man. Like, Zionists love anti-Semitism because it bolsters their claim that Jews need a genocidal ethno-state to stay safe, you know? Defeating the Zionists is, to a large extent, defeating anti-Semitism. All right. I love you guys very much. I'm going to read donos. I'm sorry I started stream late. I did wake up a little sleepy pilled myself. Cynthia Rose, thank you for the tier 3 sub. I really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Gruff, thank you for the $5. Thank you, thank you. Kowalski from Nebraska, thank you for the $5. Not saying watch, just a promotion for my YouTube channel. I need that Vosh fertilization to help the channel growth. Being shameless about your self-promotion doesn't make it not self-promotion, my friend. Careful. Don't push it. Gruff, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Found this paper at my local news station. Ah, tragic. They caught Zaran doing the Sieg Heil. This is lovely, by the way. If I was a New Yorker, I would 100% frame some cool, like, magazine photo. Es lipita. Es español lipitaja. Lipitaja? I probably butchered that, which I feel especially bad about because the content of your donation says, first sub, kind of nervous. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Sorry for butchering your name. Cats on Meth, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Kiranot, thank you for the $5. I don't want to do game-specific announcements because I want people who watch the stream to just want to watch me. This is a big problem with YouTube streaming in particular, by the way. On Twitch, because it's live streaming focused, if you like a streamer, you can just pop in on Twitch occasionally, see them up there in the top left, jump in, see what they're up to, leave if you want to, whatever. Whereas on YouTube, people only know that I'm live because it pops up on their either in their recommended up on the top or on the bottom left. They can see the channels they're subscribed to, but it doesn't always show which channels are live, and it only shows a small portion of the channels that might be live. So in other words, it's harder for me to maintain the same viewer count. People will find me if they search for me, but it's not like Twitch with its ability to like always drive consistent viewership that might fluctuate over the course of a day. To put it another way, back in the, like for Twitch streamers, it's possible for their viewership to do this over the course of a day. Like you start slow and then it gets, you know, big, like that. But with me, I can only really do a one bump for the most part. Usually, I'm talking generally. But like, you know, it goes up, 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 up. And then once I reach a peak, I start to lose viewership. And that's fine. It's just the way the analytics work, the way the algorithm and the recommendations go, you know? It's possible for that to change if a new reason is given for people to tune into the stream, like, for example, some event happens or I change the title. But it is a difference. So the point that I'm getting at is that the reason I don't want to do video game specific stream announcements is because I want people to just tune in because they like me, you know? Whatever I'm doing. Change the title every few hours. I should be better about changing the title. I've long thought I might benefit from like readjusting my monitors and my monitor setup. Found me with 5 bucks. I made an undead rogue in classic WoW and named him I Was at Jan 6. Do you think it's a funny name or in poor taste? No. You're good. Dragon Cat, thank you for the very kind $10. Thank you. I love the stream. Also, I drew you. Hey! Oh, that's so cute. That's so cute. Giving little Ruben a kiss. Presumably Ruben, you know. Or it could be any cat, sort of with the spirit of love. And try. But my guess would be Ruben. You're right. Yeah, I'll take that. Thank you, Dragon Cat. Smeck. Who made that? Dragon Cat 999 or Star System _art. I think that's delightful. Thank you. I'm saving that for sure. Kevin Norton 84, thank you for the 5 bucks. There may be a recession, but is chat considered a Kawachan to stay warm when they're homeless? Kawachans are so lovely. Pricey, but lovely, you know? They're I believe they originate from a Northwestern American indigenous people. I mean, this is a Canadian company, so that would explain that. They're essentially a sweater, but a jacket. They're a jacket sweater. They're very hard wearing, very warm, very durable, and also because of the way they're knitted, you can treat them roughly. You know what I mean? Like, sweaters vary massively in how delicate they are, and Kawachans are on the far end of being durable. So they're very warm and comfy, and you can, you know, ram into walls with them, whatever you want. Double RL has some really nice Kawachans that I'm big on. Trying to find a good example. I think a Kawachan should be like really beefy, personally. That price is insane. Well, I have a feeling, I mean, these are very high quality garments, you know? Good sweaters are expensive. If it lasts, it seems worth. Yeah. Okay, Cowichan is named after the Cowichan tribes, a large Coast Salish First Nation on Vancouver Island. Okay, there you go. Brilliant. I wonder if these Canada hand knits then are like actual Cowichans, as in made by... No, they say Cowichan inspired. Good companies will say whether or not they're... Like, the definition of Cowichan, it's like what they say, like it's only real champagne if it's from the French province of Champagne or whatever. The real Cowichans are made by the Cowichan people, even now. It's good sweater weather, folks. I'm planning on getting a nice high quality wool sweater sometime soon. Because I'm getting cold out there. I'm getting cold. the most important thing to keep in mind is that if you're buying a sweater, please don't let it be one of those like really thin, soft cashmere sweaters, okay? For one, they're not flattering. And for two, they fall apart real fucking quick. Sweaters should have some texture, man. Take a look at this. That's a nice one. That's good. Why a sweater over a parka? Parka doesn't keep you that warm, but also you can do both. Do whatever you want. Do you like Pendletons? Yes, I am American. Huge fan of this one. Big, chunky, Fair Isle sweater. Cardigans? Cardigans are maximum cozy core. That was a Kawachan, I believe. Yeah. They mentioned Kawachans here? Chunky shawl collar cardigans. Cardigans? I think they're, yeah, an acquired taste. The surprisingly useful solid black sweater. I do think everyone should have a black turtleneck. A black turtleneck is just such a ubiquitously useful. It's like having a white t-shirt. You know what I mean? It's like an absurdly versatile item. I guess it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be a turtleneck. Just a sweater, you know. Black turtlenecks are cliche. Hold on, I'm trying to find the Dye Workwear thread where he talks about the I'm forgetting the name. I'm forgetting the name of the type of sweater. It was like a Scottish Irish thing, or maybe like a northeastern, like Maine, you know, like New England kind of thing. Really heavy, had like a texture often. Gamsey sweater. I remembered. The Gamsey sweater. It's a type of fisherman sweater. Here we go. Here we go. Ew, that site had AI. Back in the day, when fellas were showing up to the job site looking like this. Hell yeah, brother. Dude on the right. Listen, people used to work harder, okay? They don't make them like this anymore. No, sir. Sorry, I'm just looking at pictures at this point. Okay. I think I might be partial to blue collar cozy core, but I don't even know if that's a thing that exists. I mean, we're kind of looking at blue collar cozy core a little bit right now, aren't we? Vend CG, thank you for the $10. I've decided that in the spirit of self-improvement, I will donate $5 every time I fall off my skateboard while learning to ride it. Only twice so far. Have you considered taking up drinking? Just curious. Good luck. Dennis the Peasant, thank you for the $5. I am once again asking you to shout out my homie Councilman-elect Noah Fields for winning his city council election. Local politics matter. Dennis, you're lucky I didn't ban you for a week with how much you were spamming that the other day. I don't know if you heard, but I acknowledged you twice. I said, well done, Dennis, twice. But you didn't acknowledge my acknowledgement. You just kept posting it. But did I ban you for a week? Did I ban you for a month? No, I didn't, because I'm very forgiving. Really, though, well done. Pale Magpie, thank you for the $10. As an Irishman, I can just say, or can I just say, the Great Replacement is real, but it's Irish people, and we've been doing it for centuries. Unironically true, by the way. Them and Italians. Thank you for the £10. Really appreciate that. Also, stop. Arcane Spaghetti, thank you for the $5. Thank you very much. Daniel Green, thank you for the $2. Alan Severino, thank you for the 100 PHP. What is a PHP? Is that the Philippines? That's yes, Philippine peso. Wonderful. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Uchiha Angus, thank you for the 14 Canadian bucks. Vosh, I think you should go down to Tennessee and canvass for Afton Bain like you did for Katie Wilson. Buddy. Listen, okay? For one, I didn't canvass for Katie Wilson. I talked about Katie Wilson and directed people to canvass for her. But no, I don't think I could do very much good taking a break from my work and responsibilities to fly out to a different state to join up with canvassing orgs I'm not familiar with the operations of, and so on and so forth. I don't try to showboat, you know. I'm aware of my sort of propensities. Every person I can get involved, to me, feels wonderful. And I do take a kind of credit in that, though obviously I'm not the one doing the real work out there. Yeah, it makes me very proud. And Sake, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. Asking Vosh if he likes workman's clothes when he's an avid follower of dye workwear, Kek V. Most of our clothing is derived from workwear in some fashion or another, okay? You have formal clothing, military attire, workwear, and athletic clothing. And that pretty much, like, a huge amount comes down to that, basically. This is a crew neck sweatshirt. It's athletic. I'm wearing fatigue shorts, which are derived from the fatigue pants, which are military. You know, it's like that, you know. Thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs again, Sake. In my last 4 canvases for Zaran, when someone told me they were voting for Cuomo, I responded, "So nice of you to give him a farewell gift." That's good. That's very, very good. That's very, very good. Vosh, French versus American workwear. I'm American, buddy. For me, there's no contest. Oh, here's the article in the Gansi sweater. That is a very, very nice sweater. Look at that. I like that, you know? It's a little bit more subtle than a Fair Isle, and it's more subtle even than a cable knit, you know? Very beautiful. Guy escaped the camps. He is awfully skinny. Yeah. Well, anyway. All right, folks. I'll see you all tomorrow, okay? Everyone take care. Bye-bye.